Chapter 1374. Unsealed. Night Sorrow's clone in the burning sky hall gave Datura the concentric crystal. Night Sorrow's clone had the concentric crystal, but he couldn't use it now as it would alert Datura Chinensis. Night Sorrow's two clones could locate each other. Datura and Night Sorrow's clones in the ceiling sky hall could locate each other. Datura returned to the world of reincarnation and started the chase. Qing Emperor Zhan Tan and the others were very anxious, but there was nothing they could do because Datura Chinensis had run away and they couldn't find him. Datura Chinensis looked at Night Sorrow and paced back and forth. "Are you really going to fight me head-on?" Datura Chinensis looked at Night Sorrow and asked. "I'm not the one who wants to fight you head-on. You're the one who found me, so I have to persevere until the end." Night Sorrow said. "Okay, since that's the case, we'll slowly fight later." Datura Chinensis waved her arm and flew with Night Sorrow wrapped around her. She was also worried that others would locate her. After Datura Chinensis entered the world of reincarnation, she did some investigation and knew that Night Sorrow wasn't simple. She knew that touching Night Sorrow would be like poking a hornet's nest. Datura Chinensis couldn't do anything because Datura was tyrannical and she couldn't fight him head-on. Besides Night Sorrow, he had no weakness. Datura Chinensis had entered the world of reincarnation for decades, even before Night Sorrow. However, Datura had no weakness, so she couldn't attack him. After Datura got married, Datura Chinensis knew that Datura had a weakness, but she didn't have a good opportunity to attack him because if she touched Night Sorrow, a few heaven masters would attack her. She couldn't handle it. Now that the Samsara Great World was facing the attack of the Shenwu Great World, the Heaven Master could not spare any time to help, so she took action. However, Datura Chinensis knew that Datura would definitely take action. The war in the Samsara world was definitely not as important as Night Sorrow in Datura's heart. Therefore, Datura Chinensis could not stay in one place. If Night Sorrow was an ordinary person, then Datura Chinensis would have killed him directly. This would cause a crack in Datura's mental state and affect Datura's luck and aura. However, Night Sorrow had a body of merit. If she killed Night Sorrow, she would lose more than she gained. She would be condemned by the heavenly Tao. Datura Chinensis planned to slowly grind and look for an opportunity. As long as Night Sorrow was in her hands, she felt that she would have a chance. Night Sorrow's clone in the Heaven Ceiling Great Hall communicated with Datura and told her about the current situation. At the same time, he reminded Datura that Datura Chinensis's target was her. His own safety was not a big problem. Datura also understood this point. Datura Chinensis's target was her. As long as he killed her, his luck would flourish. Datura Chinensis carried Night Sorrow and flew without stopping at all. Datura Chinensis arrived at a special location. Then, she took out a teleportation array disk and started to teleport. Then she changed the crystals on the teleportation array disk and teleported continuously. Night Sorrow could not remember the way, because she had entered a few small spaces. Night Sorrow could not locate her location. After changing a few more spaces, Night Sorrow saw a pitch-black river. The river appeared from the void and entered the spatial world. Then it flowed in the spatial world. Night Sorrow knew that this was the Netherworld River. Even your main body and clone can't locate this place because the energy of the Netherworld River interferes with your location. Everything you do is in vain. Of course, you can stay with your main body, Datura Chinensis said. You won't succeed, Night Sorrow said. Is that so? You are young and don't understand. As long as I trap you, Datura will be uneasy. Her mental state will soon be broken. Isn't that enough? What do you think the world will think if their husband is captured? If her mental state doesn't break in 10 years, what about 100 years? If her mental state doesn't break in 100 years, I will continue to trap you, Datura Chinensis said. Ruthless. Datura Chinensis's move was very ruthless. If she could not save Night Sorrow, Datura's heart would be tormented. In addition, her reputation would be greatly damaged. This was Datura Chinensis's goal. If Datura's mental state was broken, Datura Chinensis's opportunity would come. He could calmly make arrangements to deal with Datira. Night Sorrow's clone and Datira in the Heaven Sealing Hall told Datira to return because they had to make a new plan. When Datira arrived at the Heaven Sealing Hall, Night Sorrow told Datira about the current situation. I didn't expect her to be so ruthless. She wants to use you to break my mental state. My Tao heart is destroyed. She doesn't need to kill me. I will be destroyed. Datira's face was filled with anger. Datira Chinensis's method was very despicable. Everyone knew that it was not a family member's fault. However, as a giant, Datira Chinensis was unscrupulous. Aluo, she thinks that her scheme is very useful. In fact, from another perspective, it is completely useless. Because she thinks that you can't save me, you will feel guilty and lose face. But in fact, what can she do by trapping me? Aluo, I fought with him before. He's much stronger than me because his comprehension of willpower is deeper. He has a perfect willpower. But give me some more time. I don't need you to do anything. I can save myself, said Night Sorrow. Really? Datira looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Yes. As long as I enter the monarch realm, she won't be able to kill me. I can leave and run as I wish. It won't take too long. It will only take 3 to 5 years, Night Sorrow said. Good. That little bitch. She really pisses me off. She is so shameless. Datira scolded. Aluo, this is not like you. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He knew that everything was fine. Datira scolded, which meant that his emotions had stabilized. There was no pressure in his heart. Why is it not like me? Can't I be popular? She is too infuriating. Datira said. Let's go to the battlefield. Right now, the war between the Reincarnation Great World and the Divine Martial Great World is more important. Let my master and the others know that I'm fine. Didn't the Mandala Lily want to compete with us in patience? Let's try it out, said Yishan. Datira nodded. She believed in Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was already a merit saint in the 9 regions world. He was blessed with luck. In the world of reincarnation, he was also a merit saint. Some time ago, Night Sorrow led the allied forces to drive the Lord of Heaven Thunder Fire out of the position of the city Lord of Reincarnation City. He had returned peace to the world of reincarnation. Staying in Datira Chinensis's nest, Night Sorrow calmed down. It was enough for him to cultivate diligently. As long as he cultivated to the monarch realm, he would be able to fight with Datira Chinensis. Datira Chinensis did not care about Night Sorrow. She felt that capturing Night Sorrow was enough. She just wanted to make Datira suffer. Besides, she could not do anything to Night Sorrow. She did not dare to kill Night Sorrow. It was not good for her to hurt a cultivator with a merit body. If she didn't go overboard, then Yishang's life or death wouldn't be affected by karma. After Mandala sealed Night Sorrow's dantian, she did not make things difficult for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was too lazy to remove the seal. The death energy was overbearing, but it was nothing in front of the void energy. Besides, Night Sorrow had the underworld stone. When he used the underworld stone, the death energy that Datira Chinensis left in his dantian disintegrated instantly. This threat was nothing. Speak. Chapter 1375. Yishang did not break it, because if he broke the seal on his dantian, he would be discovered by the Mandala Lily, and it would be disadvantageous for him in future battles. Headbee Hair Night Sorrow even built a thatched cottage and stayed there. Then he studied the array, ate, and slept. Looking at Night Sorrow's calm attitude, Datira Chinensis was very angry. However, there was nothing she could do. Night Sorrow's Pearl of Annihilation was always in his left hand. If she went overboard, Night Sorrow would detonate it. After thinking about it, Mandala could only bear with it. If she could lock up Night Sorrow, her goal would be achieved. Night Sorrow studied the array every day. He was almost done with the 9 Serenities slaughtering God Dragon Tiger array. He wanted to integrate all of his understanding of array Tao into it. Time slipped away. Night Sorrow was not worried about the situation. He had already told Datira to send the 7 armies of the 9 Heaven Army to battle. They needed to make a decision. The 7 army leaders had a meeting and the minority had to obey the majority. The specific matters were under the command of Nu Lin. With that, the Nine Heavens Legion could operate normally. What Yishang needed to do was to cultivate and quickly reach the monarch realm. Qing Emperor and the others knew about Night Sorrow's situation through Datira. They were not worried and focused on the battle in front of them. The reincarnation world could not afford to lose this battle, so they had to be careful. The battle was still going on, but it was not as intense as before. This was because both sides were exhausted and could not support a high-intensity battle. Under such circumstances, Samsara world was able to stabilize itself. Among them, Mandela and Heavenly Lord God Tiger fought once. Both sides were evenly matched. This made Heavenly Lord God Tiger very shocked. This time, the Zhongwu dynasty's allies came to attack the reincarnation world. Lord of Heaven God, whose biggest reliance was his peerless combat power. He felt that the strongest person was in the Shenwu Great World. No matter how they fought, he could crush them. However, Datira's strength was beyond his expectations. He did not have the upper hand at all. In addition, the second emperor of the Zhongwu dynasty also fought with Sandalwood. In the end, Sandalwood came out on top. In the battle of the strongest, the Zhongwu dynasty's alliance did not gain the upper hand. Thus, they could only continue to fight. Night Sorrow was in an unfamiliar spatial world, but he was very calm. He knew that in the battle between the Shenwu Great World and the Reincarnation World, the main deciding factor was the Battle of the Heaven Masters and the Battle of Attrition. Night Sorrow could not participate in the Battle of the Heaven Masters. He also did not have the ability to do so. The Battle of Attrition was the job of the army. Even if he was there, he could only command and lead the army. Now that he was trapped in this small space, he might as well calm down and study the ultimate techniques of array formations, mystical skills and absolute arts. Datira Chinensis did not disturb Night Sorrow. She was now delaying until Datira could not rescue her husband because he was captured. This would lead to the destruction of her realm and the collapse of her Dao heart. Datira Chinensis's tactic was correct. If it was not for Night Sorrow's certainty and Night Sorrow's conviction, her tactic would be fatal to Datira. This was just like how Night Sorrow had been frantically looking for a solution after the Qing Emperor's problem. If she did not solve it, the problem would get worse. Time was nothing to high-level cultivators. Datira Chinensis had experienced countless years since she existed. 100 years, 10,000 years, or even 1,000,000 years were nothing to her. Of course, this was just the beginning of Datira Chinensis's plan. After a period of time, she would make some other arrangements. For example, she would spread rumors outside that Night Sorrow had feelings for her. It did not matter if others believed it or not. As long as she could attack Datira, it would be fine. For many years, Datira Chinensis did not make a move because Datira had no weakness. Now that she had found a weakness and made a move, Datira Chinensis would make use of it to the end. Night Sorrow did not run or make a fuss. She quietly studied array formations and combat techniques. Datira Chinensis did not interfere. She even felt that Datira was lucky. If Night Sorrow did not have a body of merit, she would have thousands of ways to torture and attack her. She would make Night Sorrow and Datira unable to bear it. Now, because Night Sorrow had a body of merit, she had countless methods that she could not use. Night Sorrow always held the annihilation bead in her left hand. No matter what she did, she would always hold it. In other words, if Datira Chinensis made any excessive movements, Night Sorrow would self-destruct and completely destroy her avatar's body and soul. Then karma would be created. Datira Chinensis was not willing to bear such karma. What made Datira Chinensis very angry was that Night Sorrow drank good tea every day. Sometimes, she would make some wine. Her days were very pleasant. When she wanted to drink tea with Night Sorrow would throw a tantrum. If she could not win in a battle, she would pour the tea. Once the wine was poured, she would not give Datira Chinensis any chance to get close or attack. Datira Chinensis was very angry. Night Sorrow did not have the awareness of being a prisoner. She did not have any sense of superiority. Night Sorrow, break up with Datira. Whatever you want in this world, I can help you get it. Datira Chinensis looked at Night Sorrow, who was drinking tea, and said, You think too much. First of all, you can't do anything to Datura. You don't even dare to leave this world. How can you help me? Let's just be quiet. If Datura's state of mind is broken, then her cultivation is not enough. If her state of mind is not solid enough, it is impossible for me to hurt her. Night Sorrow said. Datura Chinensis shook his head. You are wrong. Perhaps not for the time being. When Datura loses, I will kill her. Then Datura and Datura Chinensis's heaven and earth's favor and fate will gather on me. It will not be difficult for me to achieve great success. I will not dare to look at any giant in the world. Then let's wait until you've reached the point where you can look down on everyone. Yi Shang said. He appeared very calm. Datura Chinensis smiled. Actually, this choice is beneficial to you. Datura's figure and appearance are the same as mine. As long as you are willing to announce to the public that you have broken up with Datura, I will be your woman. You have everything she has. Don't you want to try something new? As for the forces under my command, after killing Datura, I can also rule the dark abyss of the samsara world. I can also help you conquer the world. Tell me, what will you lose? Night Sorrow glanced at Datura Chinensis and did not speak. He knew that Datura and Datura Chinensis were fundamentally different. Datura Chinensis did not have any principles at all. She did not have any morals, ethics, or even shame. A woman's chastity could be used as a bargaining chip. In order to achieve her goals, she would do anything. Think about it carefully. When you understand, tell me. As long as you can help me to kill Datura, my words will always be effective. Datura Chinensis stretched her waist, intentionally or unintentionally showing off her impressive figure. Night Sorrow turned his head to the side. He loved Datura from the bottom of his heart. Chapter 1376. Night Sorrow was very serious about the matters between men and women. He would never indulge himself. He loved Sikongqiu, Yanglei, and Aoi. He also loved Xueshi and Datura. He loved his home even more, so Datura Chinensis's woman was nothing. If Night Sorrow was into women, then he could accept Qing Wan, who had the best appearance and figure. Qing Emperor and Misty Rain would support him. In fact, Night Sorrow also knew that Qing Wan didn't dislike him, but he refused. Back then, Yi Shang and Xueshi had gotten together by accident. They had first started a relationship, and then developed feelings for each other. After they got married, Yi Shang no longer had any regrets in his heart. Now the mandala lily had used its beauty to move Yi Shang, but it was useless, even though it had cost a lot. Night Sorrow's heart was like an ancient well. He didn't accept any of Datura Chinensis's tricks. Every day, he deduced formations and magic skills, and then practiced actual combat with his doppelganger in the Heaven Sealing Hall. Because it was inconvenient for the doppelganger beside Datura Chinensis to do these things. Datura Chinensis couldn't do anything about Night Sorrow's calmness and indifference. He meditated and cultivated every day, comprehending the great Tao of heaven and earth, and wasted time with Night Sorrow. Time passed little by little. Night Sorrow's original body worked hard in the Samsara Palace, comprehending the will of nothingness and the will of time and space. In the blink of an eye, 5 years passed. Night Sorrow stayed in this space called Blackwater for 5 years. This was equivalent to cultivating in the Samsara Palace for 100 years. In 100 years, Night Sorrow's cultivation reached a bottleneck, the peak of the Star King. As long as he went one step further, he would be a monarch. 5 years passed. Datura often went to the Heaven Sealing Hall in the 9 Regions world to see Night Sorrow and tell Night Sorrow about the current situation. P unique. Original and version. Other plus J are all stolen equals version. The current situation was very stable. Both sides had wins and losses. Datura was a little unsettled. Night Sorrow had been captured for 5 years. She didn't know how Night Sorrow had been doing in the past 5 years, but she knew that being locked up meant that he definitely wasn't doing well. Aluo, I'm doing very well right now. In the past 5 years, I've accelerated my cultivation by 100 years. Although it's a little different from what I expected, I've reached the peak of Star King. I'm only 1 step away. If I take 1 more step, I won't be afraid of her anymore. I'll be able to fight her and protect myself, Night Sorrow said. If you don't take the initiative to attack her, then give her a reason to deal with you. If she's acting in self-defense, then injuring you is a different matter. It's different from taking the initiative to kill a person of merit and receiving divine retribution. Datira reminded Night Sorrow. I'm not stupid. I just want to leave and run. She'll definitely attack me. Then shouldn't I fight back? Self-defense? I understand this logic, Night Sorrow said with a smile. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Datira's anxious emotions calmed down again. Night Sorrow had cultivated Leakless real body. His aura was tightly locked. Datira Chinensis didn't notice the changes in Night Sorrow over the past 5 years. It wasn't something that she could notice either. At this time, Night Sorrow was a little anxious. With his current cultivation, it was very difficult for him to take the next step. Comprehending the will of heaven and earth was a huge gap. Once he crossed it, he would be an overlord. His attacks would already have some power. Night Sorrow was a little annoyed. If he couldn't take the next step, he would be under Datira Chinensis's control forever. He wouldn't be able to fight back. After drinking a cup of heart-cleansing tea, Night Sorrow went to the Yellow Springs River and watched the river flow. This was because Night Sorrow had the will of time and space wrapped around him. Otherwise, the Yellow Springs River's dense death energy would have taken away his life energy. Standing by the Yellow Springs River, Night Sorrow was a little emotional. What was the Yellow Springs River? It was the first river that ran through countless spatial worlds, high-level worlds, and great worlds. There were countless living creatures in every world. There were humans and monsters. After a living creature died, its soul energy would dissipate and return to the world. Where did it go in the end? It was the Yellow Springs River that ran through countless worlds. After these souls entered the Yellow Springs River and were purified, they would leave behind the death energy and undergo the next rebirth. Countless years had passed. The Yellow Springs River had purified countless souls, but it also left behind the death energy that suppressed the world. Night Sorrow stood by the Yellow Springs River and looked at the rolling Yellow Springs River. No matter how strong you were, no matter how tyrannical you were, as long as you died, you would go to the Yellow Springs River. Even if you were a heaven overlord, you wouldn't be able to change this law. Floating on the Yellow Springs River were pale white bones. Some had already melted, but some were still emitting light. Those were the bones of high-level cultivators. The bones were full of energy. It could be said that the river washed away all heroes. Crack. A white bone was broken. It was eroded and melted by the Yellow Springs River. Melted. The death rule and will contain some nothingness rule and will, although it was only a small part. Looking at the Yellow Springs River, Night Sorrow's original body, who was stuck at a bottleneck, stopped cultivating. He used what his doppelganger saw and heard to comprehend. After watching for a while, Night Sorrow's original body sat cross-legged again to comprehend the will of nothingness contained in the will of death. At this time, the eyes of the Samsara origin body in the Samsara palace seemed to see through everything. He saw through the space pagoda and saw Night Sorrow with the death energy on him. A genius. He has comprehended again. Becoming a monarch is just around the corner. The Samsara origin body murmured in a low voice. The Samsara origin body could only show its will, but it could not help others comprehend it. It was very optimistic about Night Sorrow, but it was powerless to help. The Samsara origin body also knew that Night Sorrow had been captured. Everything that happened in the world of Samsara could not be hidden from it. Datira Chinensis was Datira, which included Night Sorrow. The Samsara origin body was clear about their fates and would not interfere. Of course, if Datira Chinensis dared to kill Night Sorrow when Night Sorrow was innocent, the Samsara origin body would not tolerate it. Killing a cultivator with the body of merit was against the way of heaven. Night Sorrow was the peak of the Star King. The Samsara origin body knew that it was very difficult for him to go further. It was the last step of the path of a king. Once he crossed it, he would become a monarch. A monarch with the highest attribute would be a tyrant among the monarchs. Even a giant might not be able to kill him. Night Sorrow was stuck at a bottleneck. The Samsara origin body could only watch. Now that Night Sorrow had entered a state of enlightenment, As long as he had the results, he could become a 9-star king, which was a monarch. The Samsara origin body was very happy. Through what the doppelganger saw and heard, Night Sorrow's main body entered a state of enlightenment. By coincidence, Night Sorrow found the opportunity to break through. In Blackwater World, Night Sorrow's doppelganger returned to the thatched cottage. He took out a jar of wine and drank it in big gulps. Night Sorrow did not have much wine left. He only had 3 jars. Night Sorrow felt that if everything went well, he would leave Blackwater World after finishing these 3 jars of wine. Seeing Night Sorrow drink in big gulps, Datura Chinensis was very puzzled. In the past 5 years, Night Sorrow had been very restrained. Even if he drank, he only drank lightly. It was not like today. What's wrong? You can't take it anymore, or Datura can't take it anymore? Datura Chinensis asked. Second update. Thank you for your support, Dolly Maru and Unseal. Everyone else help out. Don't let me be the only one to unseal. Hee everyone's flame is high. Chapter 1377. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He finished a jar of wine, and went into the thatched cottage to rest. He had nothing to say to Datura Chinensis. Seeing that Night Sorrow didn't say anything and went to sleep, Datura Chinensis smiled. She knew that things had changed. She had locked up Night Sorrow for 5 years. She wanted things to change, but she never thought that this change was because Night Sorrow had found an opportunity to break through. After drinking, Night Sorrow calmed down. Every day he would meditate. Sometimes he would take a walk beside the Yellow Spring River. For ordinary people, the Yellow Spring River that ran through countless spatial worlds was very scary. If living creatures got close, their vitality would be drained. However, for Night Sorrow, it wasn't like that. He was suppressing the will of nothingness and the chi of nothingness, hiding his strength that was about to break through. However, with the will of time and space protecting his body and the leakless real body, the vitality in his body wouldn't be drained. The cleansing power of the underworld river had a deep feeling for Yi Shang. That kind of feeling was very strong. Yi Shang felt that the soul of this clone had escaped the restriction of the rules. It wasn't restricted by the soul of the main body. After being cleansed by the cleansing power, the soul power became much purer. Night Sorrow deduced formations and studied secret arts every morning. In the afternoon, he would take a walk beside the Yellow Spring River, enduring the cleansing of his soul. Datura Chinensis meditated every day, and also practiced secret arts. She had 2 kinds of secret arts. One was the Great Death Destruction Slash, and the other was the Xian Luo Claw. It had the death attribute as its core, and contained the power of space. It formed an extremely strong binding power. Night Sorrow tried to comprehend it by analogy. He combined the profound meaning of the Xian Luo Claw with his heaven-covering hand. However, Night Sorrow's doppelganger in the heaven-sealing hall did the deduction and cultivation. After all, he didn't want to provoke Datura Chinensis now. Breaking the seal on his dantian might anger Datura Chinensis. Datura Chinensis looked very calm, but she was a dangerous person. Once she was angered, the consequences would be severe. Night Sorrow couldn't fight against her, so he was very careful. Night Sorrow's days were the same as before. Datura Chinensis was a little puzzled. According to the situation that day, something should have happened to Night Sorrow. But now Night Sorrow was extremely calm. It shouldn't be like this. Mandala knew that it was useless to ask. She couldn't get anything out of Yi Shang's mouth because Yi Shang's state of mind was good. When his state of mind was calm, she couldn't get anything out of him. For free. Night Sorrow's avatar didn't know what was going on with the main body. Under the influence of the Yellow Springs River, Night Sorrow's main body entered an epiphany. This made Night Sorrow very happy. Entering the state of enlightenment at the peak of Star King Realm meant that he would definitely enter the Monarch Realm. The war between the Reincarnation World and the Shimwu Great World was still ongoing. The war was expanding, and other top forces in the Shimwu Great World joined in. This wasn't a matter of great grudges, but rather a battle between 2 worlds. It involved face and destiny. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord didn't appear, but the primordial army went out. It was Yuan Dao Heavenly's army, and also a self-defense army. Yuan Dao Heavenly only had one army, but it was very strong. The situation was very turbulent, and Yi Shang knew all about it. However, there was nothing he could do at the moment. His main body had to cultivate. The reincarnation great world did not lack an emperor. As for him, only when his main body broke through would he have a chance to escape. At this moment, in the big tent of the Dragon Cloud Mountain, the leaders of the Reincarnation World Alliance were all present. The situation is in a stalemate. No one can compete with Night Sorrow in terms of strategy and tactics. Red Emperor said, Lord Ruler, when will Night Sorrow return? If he's here, we won't have such a loss. Li Tianba said, soon. Mandala is a leader. Night Sorrow is trapped in a spatial world by her. Because of the interference of the natural will and rules, Night Sorrow and I can't determine the location. It's easy to find a big world from a small world, but difficult to find a small spatial world from a big world. We can't rescue him. Datira said, if Night Sorrow wants to escape, he can only rely on himself. And to do that he needs strength. Qing Emperor said, if he wants to save himself, doesn't he need to have the strength to fight against a leader? He's a Star King. If he wants to fight against a leader, even if he doesn't get stuck in a bottleneck, he still needs a lot of time. He won't be able to participate in this war. This Datira Chinensis really knows how to pick a time. Lord of Precious Fragrance said, it shouldn't take long. I believe in him. When he returns again, it will be time for him to become famous. Datira said. She knew about Night Sorrow's situation and had confidence in Night Sorrow. Your trust in your husband is a little blind. But Night Sorrow is already famous. At his age, who can do this? Who can cultivate to such a high level? Lord of Precious Fragrance said. Right now, both sides have a tacit agreement that the leaders won't take action. Therefore, invincible monarchs are crucial. We don't have such talents at the moment, but the princes of the Zhangwu dynasty all have this ability. Sha Chongtian of the Martial God Palace also has this ability. Our losses were mostly caused by the few of them. Our generals were all killed by them. Misty Rain said. This can't be helped. The royals of the Zhangwu dynasty are all talented monsters with strong combat abilities. Sha Chongtian is the same. Sandalwood said. That's right. Right now, we won't be at a disadvantage in the fight between the leaders. Lord Ruler and Sandalwood can suppress and fight against each other. What we lack now is an invincible monarch. Summer City can, but they can only fight against each other. They can't suppress them. Qing Emperor said. Yes, our monarchs are stronger than ordinary monarchs. For example, the 3 generals of the Dark Abyss are more than enough to kill ordinary monarchs. However, they are not enough to fight against the top monarchs of the Shimwu Great World. Datira said. In the previous war, the Dark Abyss suffered great losses. Emoshua died in battle. He was killed by Prince Zhan Hu of the Zhangwu dynasty. Prince Zhan Hu was famous in the Shimwu Great World. He had the title of the #1 monarch. He could kill other monarchs easily. In this War of Worlds, he had killed or seriously injured several monarchs of the Reincarnation Great World. Therefore, we have to find invincible monarchs who can suppress the other monarchs. Otherwise, our monarchs will be seriously injured, and we won't be able to fight. Sima Tiancheng said. The Azure Supreme Tharch and the others felt helpless as well. Prince Zhan, who was already infinitely close to becoming a Sky Master. His comprehension of intent was only one step away from perfection. In addition to his extraordinary talent, he was invincible among those below the Sky Master level. The other strong cultivator was the young master of the Heavenly Moon Pavilion, Lin Qingyi, who was at the same level. The Heavenly Moon Pavilion was not an ally of the Zhangwu dynasty. They were fighting for the Shimwu Great World. Moreover, they were very aggressive. The army of the Sima residents was defeated. Chapter 1378. Damn it, I'm so angry. If it weren't for the Mandala Lily, Yi Shang would have been able to take care of Prince Zhan Hu. Don't forget that when the 3 sovereigns surrounded him, Yi Shang managed to kill and severely injure them. Li Tianhu cursed. He was a heaven pillar, so how could he curse? After all, his descendants had been killed. My son, Tian Xian. Fought with them once and only managed to survive. We can't go on like this, Red Emperor said. Everyone knows the strength of the sovereigns under our command. They won't be able to deal with just a few people. If we can't restrain them, we can only stabilize the situation first and then find a suitable person to deal with them, Emperor Qing said. Everyone nodded. This situation wasn't easy to solve. In terms of numbers, the reincarnation world had many sovereigns. However, they were at a disadvantage. This situation was similar to the 9 domain wars. The invincible honorables were important. Datira arrived at the Heaven Sealing Hall and had 2 cups of wine with Night Sorrow. He also told Night Sorrow about the current situation. I need time. My original body has entered an epiphany. After this seclusion, my original body and doppelganger will fight. If they want to fight, we'll fight to our heart's content, Night Sorrow said. Star King had entered an epiphany at the peak level. There was no doubt that he would enter the sovereign realm. The most important thing was the duration of the epiphany. As long as he woke up, he would be in sovereign with the highest attributes. All right, I'll tell them to lie low for a while and wait for you to come out, Datira said. With the time acceleration of 20 times, 20 years of epiphany is only 1 year in real life. Besides, who can have an epiphany for 20 years? It won't take long, Night Sorrow said. He was very confident now. That's good. Stay calm. Don't provoke Datira Chinensis. If your clone dies, it will delay your real body's enlightenment. Also, the monarch realm is nothing to you. Only when your soul is complete will you be able to comprehend intent. That way, it will be easier for you to reach the Sky Pillar realm. Datira reminded Night Sorrow. I will stay calm. I won't arouse her suspicion. My clone is studying and deducing a unique skill. Once I reach the monarch realm, I will fight with her. I want to see the difference between a heaven master and a monarch, Night Sorrow said. I believe you. As long as you enter the monarch realm, it will be difficult for the Sky Pillar to kill you. You can just run away. Don't fight her, Datira said. After Datira returned to Long Yunshan's command tent, he reported Night Sorrow's situation. Star King has reached the pinnacle of his cultivation. When he wakes up, he will be a monarch. That's great. We have to endure. Li Tianba slammed the table and said. Then, the Sky Pillars decided to slow down their attack to avoid unnecessary losses. If they lost too much now, when Night Sorrow returned, he would have absolute combat power in the monarch realm. If they didn't have enough people, they wouldn't be able to turn the situation around. Night Sorrow stayed in the Blackwater space. Every day he was very quiet. Datira Chinensis didn't make things difficult for him because no matter what Night Sorrow did, he always had the Annihilation Orb in his left hand. It had been like this for several years. This made the Mandala Lily understand that Night Sorrow was determined to fight to the death. If he self-destructed, then the fish would die. If Night Sorrow was forced to self-destruct, then the Mandala Lily would be affected. Datira wasn't willing to do such a thing. She wanted to compete with Datira for her future. If she forced Night Sorrow to his death, she would destroy her own future. Night Sorrow didn't provoke Datira Chinensis either. He just did his own things. He calmed his mind, focused his mind, cultivated his mind, and cultivated his array skills. Your true chi and energy don't leak. It's very similar to the legendary leakless body. How about I use my ultimate skill to exchange for your technique? Mandala looked at Night Sorrow and said, I don't have an ultimate skill, and I'm not interested in yours. Night Sorrow instinctively rejected. Ultimate skills were impressive, but they couldn't compare to the leakless true body. In general, the leakless true body was also an ultimate skill, but its effects and uses were beyond the scope of an ultimate skill. One had to know that it was a technique to pass the trials of wind and fire. This was something that all Sky Pillars dreamed of. How could Night Sorrow exchange the leakless true body with Mandala Datira? This was impossible. It was impossible at all. Seeing Night Sorrow turn around and go for a stroll, Datira Chinensis was so angry that she stomped her feet. Suddenly, the ground cracked, and the cracks extended in all directions. Datira Chinensis was really angry, but she couldn't do anything to Night Sorrow. She wanted nothing more than to kill Night Sorrow right now, but she couldn't. It wasn't impossible to kill Night Sorrow, unless she didn't enter the world of reincarnation. That way, she could ignore the heavenly punishment of the world of reincarnation. However, her battle with Datura had just begun. How could she not enter the world of reincarnation? But if she killed Night Sorrow and entered the world of reincarnation, she would be punished by the heavenly punishment. With bad luck, she could easily die. Datura Chinensis had no choice but to endure. Although she had the strength to kill Night Sorrow, she couldn't. Datura Chinensis appeared to be calm. Night Sorrow also felt more at ease. What he needed most now was to calm down. After calming down, Night Sorrow continued to study Array Tao. His 9 serenities slaughtering God Dragon Tiger Array was close to completion. He had completely mastered the 9 serenities slaughtering God Array. If Datura Chinensis wasn't watching him, he would have refined the point array disc. After calming down, everything calmed down. The world of reincarnation turned to defense. The world war wasn't that intense, but there were still people who died. In the world of Blackwater, because Night Sorrow was calm and Night Sorrow wasn't angry, Datura Chinensis didn't do anything excessive. Datura Chinensis planned to wait a little longer before taking action. She went out to spread the news and use it to disturb Datura's state of mind. Night Sorrow could feel his cultivation increasing. Before the epiphany, Night Sorrow had been using resources to cultivate. His energy cultivation had been following his realm. When he was cultivating, Night Sorrow also piled up a large number of Holy Spirit stones around him. Night Sorrow wanted his cultivation to keep up with his realm. Then he would be able to fight after the advancement. He would have the realm and cultivation of the monarch. Night Sorrow was very excited to feel the increase in his cultivation. His current cultivation had surpassed the range of Star King. Time slipped away. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Night Sorrow had been cultivating in the Palace of Reincarnation for 5 years. On this day, Night Sorrow's body shook. Then the aura on his body changed. The will of nothingness rippled in all directions. It was strong and overbearing. The purple halo kept annihilating the energy of the Holy Spirit stones around him. Monarch Realm. After 5 years of epiphany, Night Sorrow entered a realm that countless people couldn't reach. Update: soonest after Night Sorrow's original body advanced, he opened his eyes to take a look. After withdrawing his aura, he continued to cultivate. His comprehension was very smooth. The epiphany was interrupted by the impact of the will after the advancement. The comprehension could still continue. Chapter 1379. Release. Night Sorrow's original body continued to comprehend, but the clone in Blackwater world made a move. Night Sorrow, who was taking a walk beside the Yellow Spring River, shook his body and released his monarch-level chi. He rushed towards the death energy trapped in his dantian, and activated the Yellow Spring Stone in his dantian to absorb the death energy. With a boom, the death energy around Night Sorrow's dantian was shaken off and absorbed by the Yellow Spring Stone. After unlocking his dantian, Night Sorrow shook his arm and held the Sky Breaker in his hand. His aura rippled in all directions. It was the impact of battle intent. During this time, Yi Shang's doppelganger in the Blackwater realm had not cultivated the battle intent, but the doppelganger in the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall could continue to cultivate the battle intent and absolute arts. Datura Chinensis's body flashed and appeared a few feet in front of Night Sorrow. Monarch! That's right. I'm already a monarch. I think I can fight now. Night Sorrow pointed at the ground with the Skybreaker. His battle intent and willpower surged in all directions. You want to fight? Datura Chinensis's face was full of shock and anger. She knew very well that the 8-Star King's Night Sorrow could resist her for a while. Now that the 9-Star King was a monarch, his battle power was even stronger. Why was the 8-Star King a king, and the 9-Star King a monarch? Because it involved the power of one's will. An 8-Star Sovereign King comprehended 80% of the will of heaven and earth. However, a Sovereign King was different. I'm leaving now. If you stop me, you're asking for a fight. If you take the initiative to kill me, no matter if I win or lose, you won't have a good ending. Night Sorrow's arm shook, and the purple halo on the Sky Breaker flowed in circles. Datira Chinensis took a step back and her face changed. Night Sorrow's willpower and energy made her understand why Night Sorrow could fight above his level. The supreme attributes: void willpower, void rule, void energy, a complete set of supreme attributes. How can I let you escape now? If I kill you, I won't go to the world of samsara. I'll just stay in Shinwu Great World and Black Yellow Great World. Datira will come to me for revenge. By then, her state of mind will be broken and she will die. Datira Chinensis said coldly. You might have thought this before today, but it's too late now, Night Sorrow said. Do you think you're so confident after becoming a monarch? Die. The Datira lily extended her arm and slashed her longsword at Night Sorrow. You want me to die? Let's see if you can do it. Night Sorrow's right hand shook, and the purple halo on the sky breaker collided with the tip of Datira Chinensis's long sword. With a loud explosion, Night Sorrow and Mandala separated. Both of them took a dozen steps back. So this is all you've got. Come again. Night Sorrow poured the power of Desolates into his body, and his bloodline talent propped up a protective shield. With the support of the space-time willpower, the Skybreaker performed the Void Extreme Kill and rushed toward Datira Chinensis. Shameless boasting. Datira Chinensis waved the long sword in his hand. The long sword with a black halo slashed toward Night Sorrow's Skybreaker. Although he was boasting, Datira Chinensis was shocked. Night Sorrow's attack strength was almost the same as hers. The amount of true chi was not as high as hers, but the quality was high. It completely suppressed her death energy. Night Sorrow's true chi was high, which made up for the lack of true chi. It was the same in a battle of willpower. In addition, Night Sorrow's body contained the power of Desolates, and his protective shield was made of spatial energy. With the support of the space-time willpower, his speed and strength increased a lot, making up for the gap between him and Datira Chinensis. The two of them began to fight by the Yellow Springs River. When there was danger, Night Sorrow would perform the afterimage body. Night Sorrow's afterimage body could not only alleviate the danger, but it could also seize the initiative. Datira Chinensis was shocked. Night Sorrow was too strong. He had just become a monarch, but he could fight her to a standstill. Even if he was lacking, he could rely on his body strength and speed to make up for it. Death's destruction slash. Datira Chinensis, who was a little anxious, used her ultimate move first. Seeing Datira Chinensis use her ultimate move, Night Sorrow's soul power activated her golden light of virtue to resist the influence of her soul. Then, she used the Void Extreme Kill to meet Datira Chinensis's longsword. When the Death's Destruction slash's black halo enveloped Night Sorrow, it was blocked by the golden light on Night Sorrow's head. Datira Chinensis's expression changed. The power of an ultimate move was most important to the space-time and soul. Apart from that, it was only at the level of an ordinary Xian skill. With a loud explosion, the two weapons collided once again. Night Sorrow was pushed back, and so was Datira Chinensis. Night Sorrow's Void Extreme Kill was also a mature Xian skill. Although it blocked Datira Chinensis's ultimate move, Night Sorrow was unable to melt Datira Chinensis's weapon. Datira Chinensis's weapon was tyrannical, and it was also supported by her perfect willpower. It was not something that Night Sorrow could break through. The battle between the two continued. Night Sorrow did not use his ultimate move. Using an ultimate move would consume a lot of energy. On the other hand, his and Datira Chinensis's biggest weakness was their true chi. The amount of true chi they had was not as much as Datira Chinensis's. This was the difference between an overlord and an overlord. Translator, Nyoibo Studio Editor. Nyoibo Studio 2 hours for hours past. Night Sorrow and Datira Chinensis had both consumed a lot of true chi. However, the situation was becoming more and more favorable for Night Sorrow. This was the effect of Night Sorrow's tyrannical body. Datira Chinensis, your true chi is about the same as mine. Can you take me down? Night Sorrow, who had been on the defensive all this time, said after using a violent move. I'll definitely kill you too, you adulterous pair. The red spider lily shouted harshly. Then I'll wait for you. Night Sorrow used afterimage body and escaped into the distance. Night Sorrow had his reasons for choosing to leave at this time. If he ran at the beginning of the battle, Datura Chinensis would definitely chase after him. Knight Sorrow also wanted to know the difference between him and Datura Chinensis. He wanted to know if he could contend against Datura Chinensis, and if he could not, how much of a difference was there? This battle lasted for 4 hours. The result of the battle was a tie. It was very difficult for Knight Sorrow to kill Datura Chinensis. It was almost impossible. Datura Chinensis could not kill Knight Sorrow even if she wanted to. Knight Sorrow's attributes, rules, and willpower all suppressed her. After fighting for 4 hours, Datura Chinensis had consumed a lot of true chi. Knight Sorrow was comparatively less exhausted. He did not use his ultimate move. He knew that it was unrealistic to kill Datura Chinensis, so he kept fighting conservatively. Knight Sorrow's body flashed and left at an extremely fast speed. Datura Chinensis slashed out a sword light, but the sword light missed. She did not chase after him. If she did, the result would be different from before. She had consumed a lot of true chi. If she continued to consume it, she would most likely lose. Datura Chinensis, remember this. It's best if you don't let me see you again. The next time we fight, the result will not be like this. Knight Sorrow left behind a few words. Speak. Chapter 1380. Unsealed. After leaving Datura Chinensis's residence, Knight Sorrow flew directly toward the space barrier of Blackwater World. When he arrived near the space barrier, Knight Sorrow found a place to meditate and recover. He didn't have a transmission array disk, so he had to pass through the space turbulence. There was no cultivation civilization in Blackwater World. Neither human beings nor monsters with cultivators. There were no other transmission arrays except for the one set up by Datura Chinensis. The transmission arrays set up by Datura Chinensis were not connected. They were all connected by the transmission array disk, so Knight Sorrow couldn't use them. However, Knight Sorrow knew that he could pass through the space turbulence. After resting and recovering for 4 hours, Knight Sorrow recovered to his peak state. Then he probed for a bit before heading towards the nearest spatial world. How did the transmission array come about? It was set up by Datura Chinensis. It must have flown out before it was set up. If Datura Chinensis could fly out, why couldn't he? Knight Sorrow was confident that if Datura Chinensis could do it, so could he. The fact was that the transmission array was set up by Datura Chinensis. If she could pass through it, Knight Sorrow could naturally pass through it, but it was very difficult. It took Knight Sorrow half a month to reach a high-level world with a civilization and a transmission array connected to the big world. Yongjiu said. Along the way, Yishan had also set up a hidden teleportation array. He felt that it might be useful one day. Of course, there was also the possibility that it wouldn't be useful. Yishan didn't lack ordinary teleportation array crystals. Sitting on the transmission array of the high-level world, Knight Sorrow arrived at the world of Samsara. Then he teleported again, and arrived at Black Demon City. Now the command center of the world of Samsara had been moved to Black Demon City. As soon as Knight Sorrow arrived at the door, Qing Emperor, Datura, and the others appeared. Disciple greets Master, Master's wife, and everyone. I, Knight Sorrow, am back. Knight Sorrow saluted the group of people. Monarch. You're a monarch? Li Tianba stuttered because this speed was too fast. When he first learned about Knight Sorrow was still a beginner king. Luckily, I broke through. Otherwise, I wouldn't be back, Knight Sorrow said. You fought with Datura Chinensis? Datura asked excitedly. Yishang nodded. He didn't want to talk about this as it was a bit of an exaggeration. However, it was unrealistic for him to run out without fighting. Sneak away? No sovereign king or sovereign lord would be able to sneak away under the nose of a heaven pillar giant. It's good that you're back. We've been too depressed recently, Sikong Tiancheng said. For the past 5 years, almost 6 years, Yishang has not participated in the battle. I am very sorry. Yishang cupped his hands and said. Let's go in. What's the point of talking outside? Li Tianhu said. After entering the city lord manor, Qing Emperor explained the current situation. A part of Blackfiend Valley had been conquered because the monarchs of Samsara world couldn't withstand the attacks of the other monarchs. If they fought head-on, some monarchs would fall. If they didn't fight head-on, some territories would fall. Currently, they didn't lose much territory because the other party didn't dare to attack separately. They only sent top-tier monarchs to conquer territories. Knight Sorrow then learned that Sima Manor, Blackfiend Valley, and Qing Emperor's dynasty all had generals fall. Knight Sorrow was relieved that Nine Heaven Army didn't. However, Nu Lin was heavily injured because several generals of Nine Heaven Army used a combined formation to block Prince Zhan Hu. He dares to injure a general of Nine Heaven Army? He must have a death wish. He had heard that Nu Lin was injured and Yi Shanghua was injured. The soldiers of the Nine Heavens Legion were all his brothers. Nu Lin was the #1 general of the Nine Heavens Legion, which meant that he was the vice commander. How could Yi Shang not be angry when Prince Zhan Hu injured him? Knight Sorrow, that Prince Zhan Hu is very strong. He's infinitely close to a Sky Master. Prince Flying Hu is also very strong. The two of them are on one side. The other side is Marquis Qingyi Lin Qingyi from Sky Moon Pavilion. She's a woman who controls 7 normal attributes. Her attacks are very aggressive. Our people can't handle her, Datura said. I'm back. I'll lead Nine Heaven Army to battle, Knight Sorrow said. It's been so frustrating. They've been suppressing us because they have top-tier monarchs. We're in a passive position. If we don't fight, our territory will be stolen. If we fight, people will be killed, Sandalwood said. After telling Qing Emperor that he could fight at any time, Knight Sorrow left the City Lord Palace and went to Nine Heaven Army's base in Blackfiend City. Yi Shang looked at Nu Lin. Nu Lin was a senior from 2 months ago. His chest had been pierced by Prince Zhan Hu's sword. He had been severely injured, but after 2 months of rest, he had almost recovered. Commander, you are a king now? Wei Wei looked at Yi Shang with surprise. After dodging a disaster, my cultivation has improved. Knight Sorrow nodded. Commander, during the years you weren't here, we didn't work hard. We couldn't beat them, Nu Lin said. I was captured and couldn't fight. My brothers have suffered. Knight Sorrow said apologetically. Commander, don't say that. We know the situation. As long as you're back safe and sound, we can fight with you again, Wei Wei said. After that, wine was served. The generals and Yi Shang drank to their heart's content in the tent. While they were drinking, Qing Emperor, Misty Rain, and Datura arrived. Knight Sorrow, you've been wrong these years. It's my fault, Qing Emperor said. Master, you think too much. I haven't been able to fight with you these years. It's my fault. Knight Sorrow bowed. Let's not talk about this. I'm here to ask you if you don't need to stabilize your cultivation? Qing Emperor asked after sitting down. No need. I can fight at any time. Knight Sorrow was still angry. Prince Zhan Hu is a tyrant among monarchs. Knight Sorrow, are you confident? You just leveled up. You can stabilize for a while, Misty Rain said. Yes. I've been too depressed these years. I need to fight. I need to fight now, Knight Sorrow said. Knight Sorrow, tell me the truth. Did you fight with Mandala Sarah and then escape? Mandala asked. Yes. I didn't have a chance to kill her, but she couldn't kill me either. After fighting for 4 hours, I retreated. Datura Chinensis didn't chase me because she knew that it was useless. She couldn't kill me. Knight Sorrow didn't hide anything since there were no outsiders here. Knight Sorrow, your body has 90% of the original body's combat power. If the original body comes out, it will be even stronger, Datura said excitedly. Not in a short time. After I leveled up, the original body only woke up for a while. The epiphany didn't stop. It's still learning, Knight Sorrow said. If the original body could continue to learn, Knight Sorrow wouldn't give up. The monarch realm wasn't the peak of cultivation. There was still room for improvement. Knight Sorrow wouldn't stop. The original body's improvement was something that could never be stopped. Speak. Here's the second update. Thank you for unsealing it. Chapter 1381. You've broken through to the monarch realm, but you're still having an epiphany? Misty Rain looked at Knight Sorrow in surprise. After entering the monarch realm, it was even harder to comprehend willpower. It was almost impossible to achieve an epiphany. How should I put it? It's my lucky chance. I was stuck at the bottleneck of Star King's Peak, and it was difficult for me to break through. When I was upset, I went to the Yellow Spring River for a walk. Looking at the flowing Yellow Spring River, I had a feeling, so I had an epiphany. After entering the monarch realm, I was only slightly awakened by the impact of willpower. Then I continued to cultivate. Knight Sorrow felt lucky when he thought of this. If you can continue to comprehend, don't come out. After entering the monarch realm, you can still have an epiphany and comprehend willpower at a high speed. It's too rare. Datura said. It's my lucky chance. Maybe I'm just lucky. Knight Sorrow smiled. It's good that you're back. Now that you're back, we're at ease. Besides, the Heavenly Moon Pavilion is approaching the eastern district of the world of Samsara. We have to stop them. That Marquis Qing-yi is difficult to deal with. Qing Emperor said. Then I'll go and kill her. Knight Sorrow said coldly. Qing Emperor nodded. Now, besides Knight Sorrow, no one could stabilize the situation. During this period of time, the situation in the world of reincarnation was not good. If it were not for the fact that Knight Sorrow could break through, the world of reincarnation would have started a war between the giants. The world of reincarnation could not withstand a war between giants. This is the military report. Take a look. Qing Emperor took out a complete map of the world of Samsara, and then told Knight Sorrow about the current situation. The situation is not good. I'll deal with the Heavenly Moon Pavilion first. They are not far from Qing City. The next city to be attacked will be Qing City. I'll take the 9 Heaven Army there, and wait for her. Knight Sorrow rolled up the military report, and made a decision. I'll go and prepare the army. Nu Lin and the other generals stood up. Everyone knew that Knight Sorrow had decided to fight. They all wanted to see Knight Sorrow's first battle after becoming a monarch. With the teleportation array, the soldiers of the 9 Heavens Legion moved very quickly. An hour later, they arrived at Qingcheng. Qingcheng was a beautiful scenery in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. There was a big lake outside the city, and beside the lake was a flat plain. Standing on top of the city gate, Knight Sorrow wiped Lai Kong with a towel. 2 hours later, the densely packed Silver Armor Legion was about 5 kilometers outside of Qingcheng. They landed in an orderly fashion, led by a woman in a red robe and golden armor. She was different from ordinary women. Her hair was not tied up in a bun, but rather hung loosely behind her head. She held a golden staff in her hand. With so many Sky Masters here, are you going to use us, the Sky Moon Army, as your first strike? The golden armored woman waved the golden sword in her hand and roared. No, we're not going to bully a junior. The battle between the Sky Masters has nothing to do with you. Qing Emperor said. So many Sky Masters are here to watch me take the city? You think too highly of my daughter, said the Marquis of Qingyi Lin Qingyi. Taking Qingcheng is not a matter of words. 9 Heavens Legion, prepare for battle. Yi Shang's white battle robe danced in the wind as he rode the ice Qilin to the city. He stopped 2 miles away from Lin Qingyi. Then, the 7 armies of the 9 Heaven Legion lined up outside Qing City. 7 square formations stood behind Yi Shang. Who are you? Lin Qingyi waved the staff in her hand and asked Knight Sorrow. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation Qing Emperor's Dynasty, 9 Heavens Legion, Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow glanced at the staff in Lin Qingyi's hand. Knight Sorrow, I know you. You're the commander of the 9 Heavens Legion. The #1 legion in Samsara world. You're also known as the #1 commander. I didn't expect you to appear after not fighting for a few years. Lin Qingyi was stunned when she heard Knight Sorrow's name. That's a bit exaggerated. Since we've met before the battle, let's settle it with a battle, Knight Sorrow said. I've defeated many monarchs in the world of reincarnation, but I haven't defeated anyone from the Qing Imperial Dynasty. Today I'll make an exception. If I'm lucky enough to defeat you and the 9 Heavens Army, then no one will be able to become my Celestial Moon Army, said Lin Qingyi. Maybe. How do you want to fight? I, Knight Sorrow, will accompany you to the end. Knight Sorrow said. You're bold. I, Lin Qingyi, went to the Qing Emperor's dynasty's territory to contribute to the Xinwu Great World War. I only want to take down the Qing Emperor's dynasty's territory. I don't want to kill too much. Let's fight to the death. This way, we won't stand in each other's way in the future. Lin Qingyi said. If I, Night Sorrow, lose and die, I won't stand in your way. What if you lose? Night Sorrow asked coldly. It's the same. If I, Lin Qingyi, lose and die, I won't stand in your way either, Night Sorrow. Lin Qingyi said. Okay. Night Sorrow nodded. Lin Qingyi's feet trembled, and she flew toward Night Sorrow like a bolt of lightning. Night Sorrow leaped into the air and used the space splitter. Then he used the space whirling dragon kill. Their weapons clashed in the air, and there was an explosion. Night Sorrow's body fluttered slightly, but Lin Qingyi was sent flying more than 60 meters away. Recently, Night Sorrow had made a change to his fighting style. The power of Desolates was always in his body. This made the advantage of his strong body and great strength even more obvious. When fighting with people of the same level, his strength was overwhelming. His protective Zhenqi was the power of space, which made his speed faster. Lin Qingyi's expression changed when she was sent flying. Night Sorrow's strength was too strong. She felt as if she had been hit by a giant beast. At this time, Night Sorrow flew forward rapidly. A series of afterimages appeared behind him. Then he used the Void Extreme Kill and attacked Lin Qingyi. Streaks of energy appeared on Lin Qingyi's body and spun towards Night Sorrow's space splitter. Bang! The two collided again. The space was shaken and cracks spread out in all directions like a spider web. Night Sorrow knew that this was Lin Qingyi's signature move. A mixed attribute, and will formed by the fusion of 7 ordinary attributes. Even high-level attributes would not have any advantage in front of her. However, Night Sorrow's attributes were supreme. His will, rules, and energy were all supreme. Therefore, Lin Qingyi could not withstand it and was suppressed. After being sent flying by Night Sorrow again, Lin Qingyi's golden sword spun. Her body rippled with 7-colored energy and attacked Night Sorrow again. Night Sorrow used the Void Extreme Kill again. He wanted to see what this mixed will was like. Therefore, he did not use his ultimate move. The two of them flew in the air between the two armies. However, everyone could see that Lin Qingyi was definitely at a disadvantage. Universe Strike. Lin Qingyi, who had been suppressed by Night Sorrow, shouted. She knew that if she did not change, she would lose. Night Sorrow used the space splitter in his hand and used his ultimate move. Chapter 1382. Great Emperor Reincarnation / Both of them unleashed their ultimate techniques at the same time. Lin Qingyi's golden energy formed countless rays of light that shot towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's gray protective energy vibrated and blocked most of Lin Qingyi's attack. Only some of the rays pierced through Night Sorrow's protective energy shield, but only his robe was cut. Night Sorrow had the power of Desolate stored in his body, so some of the attacks couldn't break through. However, Night Sorrow felt that Lin Qingyi's attack was really sharp, and it made him feel pain. Ordinary ultimate techniques could affect the soul and time, but Lin Qingyi's ultimate technique, Heaven and Earth Strike, wasn't like that. Countless rays of light exploded from her body and bombarded Night Sorrow's body, destroying his body. Was this the real deal? Only Night Sorrow could do this. Other than running away, the others couldn't block it. Night Sorrow blocked Lin Qingyi's Heaven and Earth Strike, but Lin Qingyi couldn't block Night Sorrow's Great Emperor Reincarnation / Her body was enveloped by a purple halo, and everything seemed to be still. Lai Kong seemed to have passed through space and appeared directly in front of Lin Qingyi's head. Break! Lin Qingyi roared, and the energy in her body exploded. Various colored halos rushed towards the purple halo on her head, and then she raised her arms horizontally. Although the soul and time were affected, every cultivator had their subconscious, which was their instinct. At this moment, Lin Qingyi felt the threat of death and instinctively unleashed her potential. Seeing that Lai Kong's assassination route was blocked, Night Sorrow raised Lai Kong and smashed it down. Night Sorrow could stab and hurt Lin Qingyi, but he would send Lin Qingyi flying. That way, even if Lin Qingyi was injured, she would have a chance to recover. That wasn't what he wanted. Therefore, the power of Desolate surged and poured into his arms as he smashed down with all his might. Ji. With 2 crisp sounds, both of Lin Qingyi's arms were broken. She was originally blocking Yi Shang's attack with her head, But then she changed her stance at the last moment. Naturally, she couldn't withstand Yi Shang's ferocious attack. Both of her arms were broken, even though they were filled with energy. After breaking Lin Qingyi's arms, Night Sorrow's Sky Splitter continued to smash down. It hit Lin Qingyi's collarbone and broke it. Lin Qingyi was smashed to the ground. Lin Qingyi was hit so hard that she fell to the ground and cracked the blue stone on the ground. Even though Lin Qingyi's arms were broken, she didn't let go of gold. When she knelt on one knee and crawled to her feet, Yi Shang's space splitter stopped between her eyebrows. "You lost," Yi Shang said. "You lost." Lin Qingyi stood up and looked at Yi Shang. "From today onwards, I don't want to see the Sky Moon Army in the Samsara realm," Night Sorrow said. "If I fail, there's no point for the Sky Moon Army to stay. Listen up, don't fight anymore. Go back to Shenwu Great World and tell the Pavilion Master that this is what I want. Night Sorrow, you can make your move now." Lin Qingyi turned around and spoke to the army. Then, she looked at Night Sorrow. "Leave." Night Sorrow took a few steps back. "You're not going to kill me?" Lin Qingyi looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. "You said that you came here because you wanted to contribute to the Shenwu Great World Realm War. You wanted to take over the territory of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. You didn't want to kill more people. So did I." Night Sorrow nodded. "The Marquis of the Heavenly Moon Court, Lin Qingyi, owes you a favor. You will not see me or the Heavenly Moon Army again in the Realm War. Retreat." Lin Qingyi nodded to Yi Shang and retreated, leading the Heavenly Moon Army away from the battlefield. "Miss, I didn't protect you well and let you get hurt." An old woman flew to Lin Qingyi's side. "Aunt Mu, if he wants to kill, no one can stop him. It's not your fault." Lin Qingyi looked back at Night Sorrow, who was still standing on the battlefield. "Is it appropriate for us to not fight?" Aunt Mu asked. "Aunt Mu, which army is the strongest in the Samsara realm?" "It's the Ninth Heaven Army. At the beginning of the Realm War, the Ninth Heaven Army was invincible. Later, they quieted down because their commander wasn't there. But even without the commander, they were able to hold their ground. Now that the commander has returned, and he's ridiculously strong, the Nine Heavens Army now has a backbone. If we continue to fight, the Sky Moon Army will be gone. There won't be anything left." Lin Qingyi exhaled and said. She was seriously injured and her arms were broken. But at King's level, it was easy for them to regrow broken limbs. She had almost recovered. "I've checked the information of the Samsara realm. 5 years ago, when Night Sorrow was a king, Hu Shao of the Zhanwu dynasty led 2 sovereigns to kill him. One was killed, the other was disabled, and the other escaped. He wasn't a sovereign at that time, but he was an expert among sovereigns. Now that he's a sovereign, it's hard to find a match for him." Aunt Mu said. "We've contributed to the realm war. It's not wise to fight to the death when we know we can't win." Lin Qingyi shook her head. She felt defeated and powerless. Night Sorrow gave her the feeling that he was invincible. His aura was majestic. Whether it was strength, speed, or attacks, they all had a majestic aura. His every move was unstoppable. Lin Qingyi knew that Night Sorrow fought conservatively. When he defeated her, he used his ultimate move. "Miss, are there any sovereigns in the Shenwu Great World who can stop him? Flying Tiger Prince isn't a match for you. What about War Tiger Prince and Sha Chongtian?" Aunt Mu asked. Lin Qingyi shook her head. "Flying Tiger Prince has no chance. He can't even defeat me. Sha Chongtian is about the same as me. There's no chance of defeating him. I'm not sure about War Tiger Prince's strength, but he might be able to fight him. Aunt Mu, I need information on Night Sorrow. The more detailed, the better." Aunt Mu nodded. She was Lin Qingyi's follower and helped her with some trivial matters. Night Sorrow watched Lin Qingyi leave. He waved his hand and ordered the Ninth Heaven Army to retreat. He jumped and landed on the city gate. Good fight." Li Tianba stood up and smashed the table into pieces. He was too excited. "Night Sorrow, why didn't you kill them?" "Kill them all," Li Tianhu said as he glared at them. "There's no need for that. Defeating them without fighting is the best strategy. The Heavenly Moon Pavilion is here for the Realm War. They have no enmity with us. The Ninth Heaven Army can kill some of them, but there will be losses. The losses aren't worth it because our main opponents are the War Tiger Dynasty, Martial Sacred Palace and Poison King Valley. We can defeat them if they're here for the Realm War. Knight Sorrow explained why he didn't kill Lin Qingyi. Knight Sorrow, you're right. If you kill them, the Heavenly Moon Pavilion will appear again in the future. It will be troublesome for us. Now they won't bother us. Qing Emperor nodded at Knight Sorrow. That's right. One battle to settle the problem. Knight Sorrow, no one but you can do that. Sima Tiancheng said. This time, I chose the Heavenly Moon Pavilion for this battle. In the next battle, I'll start killing. I'll choose an opponent and kill them all. Knight Sorrow said. He knew that he needed to be benevolent and righteous at the same time. Chapter 1383. Me too. I don't know / unsealed, then we'll deal with Martial Sacred Palace in the next round. They deserve to die. The Crimson Emperor said. Okay, then we'll deal with Martial Sacred Palace in the next round. Knight Sorrow nodded. He also felt that Martial Sacred Palace was a force that deserved to be destroyed. Then Sima Tiancheng suggested drinking, and the group flew towards the City Lord's mansion. At the level of Heaven Masters, Datura and Sandalwood could restrain and suppress them. The reincarnation Great World was at a disadvantage because of the lack of monarchs. Knight Sorrow's first battle after his return had shown his ability, which made everyone feel much more at ease. After drinking, Knight Sorrow and Datura strolled around the city. After I'm done with this, I'll spend some time with you and your family, Knight Sorrow said. Datura nodded. It wasn't easy for you to escape this calamity. Datura Chinensis probably won't give up so easily, but she won't have many chances to make a move in the future. Datura felt relieved that Knight Sorrow had entered the monarch level, because Knight Sorrow was indeed her weakness. Holding Datura's hand, the two strolled around the streets. Datura asked Knight Sorrow how he found out that Datura was a fake. I wanted to hold her hand, but she avoided me. How can a wife do that? Actually, I was a little agitated at that time. I should have calmed down. And then my clone in the heaven-sealing Great Hall would find a way to inform you. But thinking about it, I've gained a lot in the 5 years that he captured me, Knight Sorrow said. He was indeed satisfied that he had used 5 years to enter the monarch realm. You're indeed a little anxious. You should calm her down first. As the two talked, they got on the teleportation array. Knight Sorrow wanted to go home to take a look. His family knew that something had happened to him, so he went back to take a look. His parents and wife would also feel at ease. When Knight Sorrow came back, Yi Wuyo Yuqing and the others were very happy. They held a family banquet at home. Yi Wuyo and Yuqing were both Saint Kings. Knight Sorrow was also very happy. He did not think that his parents and wife would have great achievements, but no matter what, they had to be kings. That way, their lifespans would be limitless. As for his son and daughter, Knight Sorrow was not worried at all. Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan's cultivation base was higher than his. In the future, it would not be a problem for them to enter the king realm. There were many factors that had to be taken into consideration if one wanted to be successful in cultivation. However, talent was also very important. The most important factor was luck and opportunity. Knight Sorrow knew that fate was an unknown factor, but in terms of luck, he was sure that his family members were not bad. He was a realm lord and a virtuous saint. The people around him, his family members, and his friends would all be blessed by luck. Currently, the 9 regions world was a high-level world. It could already produce a place where willpower was displayed. It would be easier for his family members to comprehend willpower. Father, we want to go to the world of reincarnation to see the current realm war. Yi Qingyan said. Okay, you can come with me later. Stay with Grandmaster and Grandmaster to broaden your horizons. Knight Sorrow agreed after thinking about it. You spoil them too much. You agree to everything and even trouble them. Sikong Chiyu said. Haha, it's nothing. The children need it. I just want to say hello to Grandmaster and Grandmaster's wife. There's no need to be so polite with them. Knight Sorrow smiled. Father, look. Aunts and my mother are so strict. Yi Qingyan hugged Knight Sorrow's arm and looked at Aoi, who was glaring at her. I'm often not at home. So your mother and aunts not only treat you with the love of a mother, but also with the strictness of a father. I don't have the time to educate you or guide you in cultivation. So, all I can do is pamper you a little. Night Sorrow said. Daughter and brother know that father is busy. Without father's hard work, the Yi clan wouldn't be as stable and prosperous as the Nine Regions world. Yi Qingyan said. Your father has always been working hard. Actually, it's to fight for a place for the Yi clan and the Nine Regions world. Now your father has the qualifications. Anyone who wants to harm your father will have to think twice, including the Sky Pillar. Datira said. Of course. Aunts, you're domineering enough. Who isn't afraid of you? Yi Yujun said. Is your father someone who needs aunts to support him? It's your father who can do this. You still don't understand your father. Datira said with a smile. Father, what's your cultivation? Yi Qingyan looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I've made some gains recently. Let's not talk about that. Father, mother, I still have some things to take care of. Once I'm done, I'll come back and accompany you. Night Sorrow stood up and said. He didn't want to tell his children about his cultivation, because he didn't want to put pressure on them. Go. Yi Wuyo nodded. Night Sorrow and Datira brought Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun to Black Fiend City through the teleportation array. Then they went to the City Lord's mansion. Greetings, Grandmaster. Greetings, seniors. After entering the City Lord's mansion, Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun bowed to Qing Emperor, Misty Rain and the others. Why are you two here? Qing Emperor said with a smile. He was very fond of Night Sorrow's children. We told father that we wanted to go to the reincarnation world, to broaden our horizons. Yi Qingyan said. There are many opportunities to increase your cultivation and strength. However, it's rare to see a realm war like this. You two should stay with Grandmaster and Grandmaster. Qing Emperor nodded. You two listen to me. Father still has things to do. After saying that to his children, Night Sorrow and Montua left the City Lord's mansion. DV equals eternal. Free 9 view 1-inch Father. Your name is known throughout the world. Your children are also dragons and phoenixes among men. Sima Tiancheng said. Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun cupped their hands towards Sima Tiancheng in response to being praised by a senior. If your father wasn't Night Sorrow and your grandmaster wasn't Qing Emperor, I would also want to take you in as my disciples. Sima Tiancheng said with a smile. This wasn't fake politeness. Who was he? He was a big shot. He could naturally see through Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun's situation with a single glance. Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan's eyes were filled with spirituality. Their bodies were also filled with righteousness. If you can't take in a disciple, you can take in a son-in-law. Do you have an unmarried girl in your family? Red Emperor said with a smile. Red Emperor? Alright. The leaders of other forces have a lot of children. I don't have any grandchildren. I only have one precious daughter. However, you won't have a chance until you reach the King Realm. Once you reach the King Realm, I can help you talk to him. Sima Tiancheng looked at Yi Yujun and said. In the marriage of high-level cultivators, there wasn't much to be said. However, the most important point was that King Realm cultivators wouldn't easily marry cultivators below the King Realm. This was because one had an endless lifespan, while the other had a limited lifespan. There was a fundamental difference between the two. Residence Master Sima, are you serious? Qing Emperor looked at Sima Tiancheng. Of course. Qing Emperor, don't think too much about it. Don't think about taking advantage of it. Sima Tiancheng said. Alright. Yujun, work harder. When you reach the King Realm, your father won't even need to step in. Grandmaster will propose marriage for you. No matter what dowry the Sima residence wants, our family will pay for it. Qing Emperor directly said. Many thanks to Grandmaster. Many thanks to Senior. Yi Yujun bowed to Qing Emperor and Sima Tiancheng. What about this one? I'll reserve this girl for my child. Li Tianba looked at Yi Qingyan and said. Don't even think about it. Misty Rain interrupted Li Tianba. Speak. First watch. Chapter 1384. Why? Li Tianba asked with his eyes wide open. It's not that easy to marry a woman from the Yi family, Qing Emperor said. Father said that as long as I like it, it's fine. He will only give advice and not interfere with my decisions. I don't have such plans yet, but I will respect his advice, Yi Qingyan said with a smile. Father has done well, Lord of Precious Fragrance said. After Night Sorrow returned to the Nine Heavens Army's encampment, he chatted with the generals for a while before going to the God-slaying team's encampment. They were now under Wu Jia's command. They were free of charge for a long time. 13th brother, you're too impressive, Tianyu said. I saw that you're a king, but I was too busy to congratulate you. Very good. You and Yi Mei are both good, Night Sorrow said. Yi Mei and Tianyu were both one-star king. Yi Mei nodded, but she didn't seem to be in a good mood. While everyone was drinking and chatting, Yi Mei revealed some things under Yi Shang's questioning. She was a reincarnated soul. She was a nine-tailed fox in her previous life. In her previous life, there was a war and the nine-tailed fox clan was destroyed. She was defeated and died. Her soul entered the space-time turbulence, and coincidentally came to the Nine Regions world to be reincarnated. Where are you from? We'll kill whoever killed you, Night Sorrow said. 13th brother, let's talk about this later. It's not the right time yet, Yi Mei said. What about you, Tianyu? After reaching the king's realm, did you get any information about your clan? Night Sorrow looked at Tianyu. Yes, but it's very melodramatic in the secular world. My father is a prince of the Green Rock clan, and my mother is a Black Phoenix. Because they didn't approve, my parents were chased out of their respective clans, and were even hunted down. They threw me into the Nine Regions world to grow up. It's that simple, Tianyu said. Hunted down? Is there any news? Night Sorrow asked anxiously. Don't worry, my memories are still sealed, but I can sense that my parents are safe and sound, Tianyu said. Tianyu, Yi Mei, since you two call me Brother 13, then you are my younger brother and sister. If you have any problems, come and find me, Night Sorrow said. Tianyu and Yi Mei nodded. They knew how Night Sorrow felt about them. After leaving the God-slaying team, Night Sorrow went to the main tent and took out the military intelligence map. After taking a look, he decided to choose Martial Sacred Hall for the next battle. It was a battle of massacre. The behavior and style of the Martial Sacred Palace was completely different from the Heavenly Moon Pavilion. The Heavenly Moon Pavilion was fighting for the Shenwu Great World. They were fighting for the dignity of the Shenwu Great World. They only wanted to win and nothing else. However, the Martial Sacred Palace was not. They came for the sake of massacre. Their goal was not pure. Moreover, they would kill after conquering the territory. Jun Xuanji and the other generals also came to the main tent. They wanted to know Night Sorrow's plan. The battle of the Martial Sacred Palace should be in the Red Emperor's country. The Shenwu Great World knows that the Eastern District is the core of our reincarnation Great World. Therefore, all the armies are targeting this area, Jun Xuanji said. Then let's take care of them, Night Sorrow said. The most difficult person to deal with in the Martial Sacred Palace is Sha Chongtian. However, this guy is different. He doesn't care about the matters of the army, and doesn't command the battle. He only fights with our sovereigns at the beginning of the battle. After winning, he will leave. After that, he has nothing to do with us, Nu Lin said. I understand. He is a martial artist. After defeating him, he will have nothing to do with us. I will deal with this, Night Sorrow said. After that, the Nine Heavens army moved again. They arrived at the border city of the Red Emperor's country, Red Origin City. The overlords of the reincarnation Great World also arrived at Red Origin City. This was the place where the battle would change. Feather Lord Qing Yan, have you seen your father in battle? Datura asked. No. Father has always been busy. We have been cultivating and training ourselves, Qing Yan said. Today, you will be able to witness your father's massacre, Lord of Precious Fragrance said. Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea in the main tent. According to his estimation, the Martial Sacred Palace's army would arrive in the afternoon. The generals were also in the main tent, drinking tea and waiting for the battle. The main tent was made from the leather of the Black Mountain Cow. The Black Mountain Cow was a huge demonic beast. Its body was hundreds of feet long. Therefore, it was easy to make a tent that was hundreds of feet wide. Junior brother. Qing Lin and Qing Yuan entered the main tent. Senior brother and senior sister, why are you here? Night Sorrow stood up and invited them to sit down. Why are you here? Recently, our army has been bullied to the point that we can't fight. We have been suppressed greatly. So we came to watch you fight, Qing Lin said with a smile. All right. The battle will probably start in the afternoon, Night Sorrow said. The Heavenly Moon Pavilion left the reincarnation great world. Junior brother, you took down a top faction in one battle, Qing Yuan said. Night Sorrow shook his head. He then explained the reason. The top factions that joined later were only fighting for the Realm War. They were different from the Zhangwu Dynasty, Martial Sacred Palace, and Poison King Valley. For the top factions that fought for the Realm War, if they lost, they lost. They could admit defeat. If they lost, they would return. However, the Zhangwu Dynasty, Martial Sacred Palace, and Poison King Valley were different. They fought for their own interests and grudges. They would not give up until they could no longer hold on. Martial Sacred Palace sent 3 armies. Currently, the strongest is the Martial Sacred Palace army. That's because they have the Martial Sacred Palace general, Sha Chongtian. After defeating Sha Chongtian, the Martial Sacred Palace army won't have anything to worry about. Jun Xuanji handed Night Sorrow the information about the Martial Sacred Palace army. Today, I'm not just going to defeat Sha Chongtian. I'm going to destroy the Martial Sacred Palace army. They are bloodthirsty. Let's kill them back, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow did not want to kill. However, there were times when he had to stop killing with killing. In the afternoon, the Martial Sacred Palace's Martial Sacred Palace army arrived. There were 6 armies. The 7 legions of the 9 Heavens Legion were arranged in 7 square formations. The Martial Sacred Palace army was very strong because of Sha Chongtian. As long as the sovereign won the battle and defeated or killed the enemy's commander in general, the remaining soldiers would not have much combat power. This was also the reason why the Martial Sacred Palace army could keep attacking cities. The commander of the Martial Sacred Palace army was a man in silver armor. Beside him was a burly man in black armor with a saber on his back. He was the Martial Sacred Palace's lord Sha Chongtian. Night Sorrow left the command tent and rode the ice Qilin to the front of the army. Sha Chongtian's body flashed and landed a mile away from Night Sorrow. I heard that Night Sorrow of the Qing Emperor's dynasty defeated the Qing Marquis. Sha Chongtian will try. Sha Chongtian pulled out the saber on his back with his right hand. Night Sorrow's right hand shook and the sky splitter appeared in his hand. His body flashed twice and rushed in front of Sha Chongtian. He waved his hand and used the Void Extreme Kill. Night Sorrow did not intend to be polite today. He wanted to get rid of Sha Chongtian first, and then destroy the Martial Sacred Palace army. Night Sorrow wanted to tell the world that the world of Samsara was not a place where anyone could attack. If they attacked, they would have to pay the price. Speak. Second update. Chapter 1385. Sha Chongtian waved his saber at Night Sorrow. He already knew that Lin Qingyi was defeated, and that there was an invincible monarch in the world of Samsara. Sha Chongtian had his own analysis of strength. He was similar to Lin Qingyi, but he was good at different things. Lin Qingyi's style was light and flexible, while his style was bold and domineering. Their weapons clashed, and then they were separated by the recoil. Yi Shang retreated a few feet, and Sha Chongtian retreated even further. Strong power. Sha Chongtian's power was much stronger than Lin Qingyi's. His attribute was similar to Sandalwood's, which was evil spirit with dark intent. Evil spirit was a branch of the destruction attribute. Sandalwood was a blood evil spirit, which was actually a fire evil spirit. Sha Chongtian was a dark evil spirit. After the first collision, they had a better understanding of each other's strength and attack strength. Then they continued to fight. Night Sorrow was very confident. So what if black evil spirit had an attribute? It was a branch of the destruction attribute, but it was a branch after all. It was only between the advanced attribute and the supreme attribute. It could not be compared with the supreme attribute. As they fought, Night Sorrow found that Sha Chontian had also cultivated his body. Although he was not as strong as himself, he was much stronger than ordinary practitioners. After several rounds of probing, Night Sorrow immediately used his killer move, Death Annihilation Slash, followed by Soul Annihilation Slash and Crescent Moon Blade. It's time. The battle is about to end. After testing his strength, Night Sorrow will not fight with him anymore, Qing Emperor said. In fact, after testing Sha Chontian's strength, Night Sorrow did not want to waste more time. He wanted to end the battle as soon as possible. After the black light of death destruction cut appeared, Sha Chontian knew something was wrong. He growled and a black light appeared on his head and body. After Night Sorrow's great Death Annihilation Slash enveloped Sha Chontian, the black light on his body spread out in all directions to resist this soul attack. Although it blocked the soul attack, it still affected time and space. Sha Chontian's movement slowed down. At this time, Night Sorrow's space splitting also came to him. Sha Chontian's reaction was slow, so he only managed to avoid being hit in the head, but his body was pierced through by the space splitter. With his body heavily injured, Sha Chontian let out a low roar and swept his battle saber towards Yishan. Night Sorrow retreated, dodging the saber light attack. He then used Afterimage Body. His real body and Afterimage rushed forward, surrounding Sha Chontian. His real body arrived behind Sha Chontian and used Great Emperor Samsara Slash. Feeling the danger again, Sha Chontian's body exploded with a bang, turning into a black fog, spreading in all directions. You are very strong. I have lost. I accept my loss wholeheartedly. I will go back and cultivate. I will come back to find you for another round in the future. A voice came from the black fog. Next, the black fog dispersed. This is the baleful chi body of the destruction branch. The price of using this move is similar to dying. The only difference is that the soul is intact, Sandalwood said. He also cultivated the destruction branch, so he knew very well. What are the levels of Father and his opponent? Spatial cracks kept appearing during the battle, as if they were going to destroy everything, Yi Qingyan said in surprise. Later, Master Granny will tell you that the army war is about to begin, Misty Rain said. Divine Temple Army, you have been killing and plundering in the world of Samsara. Today, we will not be polite. Nine Heavens Army, I am invincible. Kill. Night Sorrow waved the space splitter and attacked the commander of the Divine Temple Army. The commander of the Divine Temple Army was dumbfounded. The battle between Night Sorrow and Sha Chontian was too fast. The army had just gained a foothold, and the battle was already over. Sha Chontian was defeated, thoroughly defeated. The members of the Martial Sacred Hall knew very well what kind of person Sha Chontian was. He was the strongest person under the Martial Sacred Hall's sky pillar, and had the record of killing a sovereign king. However, he was defeated now. Even if he was defeated, no one could deny Sha Chontian's strength and ability. While the commander of the Divine Temple Army was still in a daze, Night Sorrow appeared in front of him and used the space splitter with the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash. Night Sorrow knew very well that Sha Chontian and the commander of the Divine Temple Army were the two most important people. One was brave, the other was wise. Sha Chontian was famous for his bravery and could kill the experts of the Divine Temple Army. The commander of the Divine Temple Army was the core of the army. With the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash, Night Sorrow sent the commander of the Divine Temple Army flying and chopped off one of his arms. Then Night Sorrow used the space splitter with the Death-Shattering Slash, killing the commander of the Divine Temple Army. 2 moves, Night Sorrow killed the commander of the Divine Temple Army in just 2 moves. After Night Sorrow took the Legion commander's storage ring with his left hand, he charged into the ranks of the Divine Hall Legion and started killing. Night Sorrow did not fight blindly. He chose the toughest opponents and killed the opponent's monarch. If the opponent did not have a monarch, the Nine Heavens Army would have no pressure. The only authentic version, the others were all. It was the pirated version. The strongest warrior of the Divine Temple Army, Sha Chontian, was defeated. The commander of the Divine Temple Army was killed, and a few monarchs died in the hands of Night Sorrow. The soldiers of the Nine Heavens Army were in high spirits. The 7 armies surrounded the Divine Temple army and started to kill them. The atmosphere was completely opposite. Night Sorrow's battle effect destroyed the enemy's morale and raised the 9 Heavens army's battle intent. Therefore, the battle strength of the two sides was completely different. The members of the Divine Temple army were killed continuously. Some of them had already knelt on the ground and raised their weapons to surrender. The Divine Temple army that once suppressed all the armies of the reincarnation world is nothing in front of Night Sorrow, said the precious fragrance Heaven Lord. It was a one-sided massacre. The core of the Divine Temple army was killed, and there was no commander left. They were scattered like sand. After fighting for 2 hours, except for a portion that escaped, most of the Divine Temple army was killed. This was a battle of annihilation. Since the beginning of the Realm War, both sides had victories and losses. The Shenwu Great World had occupied a large territory, but they had not been able to destroy any army. Now that Night Sorrow had returned and led the 9 Heavens army to battle, the Divine Temple army was heavily injured and almost completely destroyed. It could be said that the Divine Temple army was destroyed. After the battle ended, Night Sorrow checked the losses and cleaned up the battlefield. He flew to the top of the city gate. Father, thank you for your hard work. Have some tea. Yi Qingyan poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, well done. The Divine Temple army is destroyed. They were the most rampant before, but now they have been destroyed, said the Red Emperor. Not bad. The 2 battles with the Sky Moon army and the Divine Temple army will probably make the Shenwu Great World behave, said Night Sorrow. What do you plan to do next? Asked the Qing Emperor. He looked at Night Sorrow and asked, Wait here. I will lead the 9 Heavens army to set up camp here. If they can't take us down, they won't be able to continue the battle, so they will definitely attack, said Night Sorrow after drinking a mouthful of water. Speak. The 3rd update has arrived. There will be an explosion today. The update will be released at 3 in the afternoon, 7 in the afternoon, and 9 in the evening. Thank you for unblocking the 2 numbers. Chapter 1386. That was the truth. What they were fighting for now was momentum. Yi Shang had led the 9 Heaven army to take down the Sky Moon army and the Divine Temple army. This was to tell the 2 worlds that they were stronger than them. If they wanted to win the Realm War, they had to defeat them first. I'll stay here with the 9 Heavens army. Come. This was what Night Sorrow meant. Then what if their entire army comes? Red Emperor asked. That's simple. Our army will come as well. Now, everyone better follow the plan. Otherwise, I won't be polite. I'm also good at crooked methods, Night Sorrow said as he took a sip of tea. Then inform all the armies to reinforce Scarlet Origin City at any time, Qing Emperor said. After communicating with the Heaven Masters present, Night Sorrow returned to the camp. New Lin, how are our losses? Night Sorrow asked. There aren't many losses. Our 9 Heavens army has been fighting, and our combined attacks are very effective. There are some injuries but very few deaths, New Lin reported. That's good. We'll set up camp here and wait for them to come and kill us, Night Sorrow said. New Lin and the others nodded. They understood Night Sorrow's thoughts. At this time, the news of Night Sorrow's 2 victories had already spread. The morale of the realm of reincarnation was soaring. At the Thunder Cliff, Heaven Lord Shen, who had also called for a meeting. The Sky Moon Pavilion isn't very brave. They retreated after being defeated once. Now let's not talk about our losses. The main thing is that our morale has dropped. We have to fight back, Heaven Lord Shenhu said. #C*original plus L chapter. Heaven Lord Shen, who wore a golden battle armor. His golden hair draped behind his head, and his eyes shone with an ominous light. He was a mutated beast, the heaven-devouring tiger. He had always been able to fight above his level. However, this time he hadn't been able to defeat Datura. He had a very strong reputation in the Shenwu Great World. Even those who weren't part of the Martial War Alliance didn't dare to provoke him. He was overbearing and unreasonable. We have to destroy Night Sorrow and the 9 Heavens army. Only then can we advance, Heaven Lord Shenhu said. Heaven Lord Shenhu, Night Sorrow and the 9 Heavens army are camped in Scarlet Origin City. Our sovereigns and armies will charge over there and crush them. Martial god Xiang said. He was furious because Sha Chongtian was the disciple of the martial god palace's palace master. He had invited him out, but now he was heavily injured. Tiger. Flying. Heaven Lord. That was the truth. After Night Sorrow defeated the Marquis of Light and Sha Chongtian, his original body cultivating in the Samsara Palace had benefited. He had benefited twice, and each time his light of merit had become more exuberant. Night Sorrow had the foundation of the body of merit, which was different from the others. Others who participated in the realm war only had merit for the world of Samsara, but it was not merit. The only benefit was the blessing of fate. However, Night Sorrow had the blessing of the light of merit. Night Sorrow's doppelganger also had a change. His original body didn't feel anything, but Night Sorrow's doppelganger felt very strong. This result made Night Sorrow very happy. If this continued, his light of virtue in the world of reincarnation would also level up. He would become a light of virtue saint. Night Sorrow was a light of virtue saint in the 9 domains world, but not in the world of reincarnation. If he was a light of virtue saint in the world of reincarnation, then he would be very powerful. Night Sorrow knew that the light of virtue saint was not the end of the light of virtue body. The light of virtue body was the lowest level after cultivating the heart and virtue. Next was the light of virtue saint, light of virtue supreme saint, and light of virtue heaven lord. At the level of light of virtue supreme saint, it didn't belong to a certain world. It belonged to the entire great thousand world. It wasn't the recognition of the world's origin, but the recognition of the great thousand world's heavenly Tao. Even if the light of virtue saint didn't have cultivation, he was still a king among saints. Even without cultivation, saints and saint kings were no match for him. The light of virtue supreme saint was equivalent to the same level as the king and the monarch. His words were the law. His words were the will and rules of the heavenly Tao. The light of virtue heaven lord was a level beyond the level of cultivation. Cultivating one's heart and morals usually started from a young age. Night Sorrow started from the 9 regions world, and then he started from the 9 firmament world, and now the reincarnation great world. Night Sorrow felt that it was about time. With one more light of virtue he would be able to become a saint in the world of reincarnation. At this time, in the backyard of Scarlet Origin City's City Lord Mansion, Yi Qingyan brewed some tea. Mistress, can you tell us about my father's situation? We don't know, and we don't understand. He's too good of a son and daughter. Then are you ready? Let me tell you about the world. A low-level world uses a high-level world as its core. A group of high-level worlds forms a world group. The core of a high-level world group is a great world. Our world group uses the reincarnation great world as its core. Your father is the fastest cultivator in the reincarnation great world for countless years, said Heavenly Monarch Yufei. The most outstanding cultivator in the world of reincarnation for countless years? Yi Yujun was dumbfounded. Yes, in the history of the world of reincarnation, the fastest cultivator to become a king was 300 years. The fastest cultivator to become a monarch was 130,000 years. Do you know how old your father is now? Qing Emperor asked with a smile. 130 years. But with time acceleration, he can cultivate faster. Yi Qingyan said. Time acceleration is a rule, a space-time rule. It has nothing to do with one's age in the real world. In other words, your father became a monarch in 130 years. Also, he cultivated the body of virtue and virtue. Now, do you understand what it means to help your father? Qing Emperor smiled at Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan. Father is a monarch? He's at the same level as Monarch Xiantian of the mysterious sky world and Monarch Xinshao of the 9-cloud world? Yi Qingyan was astonished. Don't judge it like that. It's not the same thing. Monarch Xiantian and Monarch Xinshao are stronger, but they're only at the middle level of monarchs. Your father can kill high-level monarchs as easily as taking something out of his pocket. The man in black armor today is the monarch of the martial sacred palace. He's known as the invincible monarch. You saw the result of his battle with your father. Qing Emperor said with a smile. Night Sorrow was not only the pride of his children, but also the pride of his master. Father is so powerful now, But why doesn't he tell us? Yi Qingyan whispered. Your father doesn't have it easy. He doesn't tell you because he doesn't want you to bear the pressure, said. Fourth watch. Chapter 1387. Yes. Because your father thinks that as long as he does well, you will have a stable sky and an environment where you can live in peace. He doesn't want you to feel pressured, Misty Rain said. Father's life is too hard. In order to have the right to speak in this world, one has to be a leader. Father has to suffer, Yi Qingyan murmured. Her heart ached for her father. Haha, right to speak? Your father already has it. Your father has an undefeated record against leaders. Qing Emperor Misty Rain, let me bring these two kids to have dinner with their father. Let's go together. Datura said after entering the courtyard. Qing Emperor and Misty Rain nodded. Datura arranged a banquet in the tent of the military camp. Qing Lin and Qing Wan were there as well. Have you two mobilized the army? The war might break out at any time. Qing Emperor asked as he looked at his children. Qing Emperor only sat down after getting an affirmative answer. During dinner, everyone chatted casually. Qing Wan told Qingyan and Yujun about Night Sorrow's past, as they were more interested in Night Sorrow's past. Night Sorrow stopped her, but Qing Emperor felt that it was necessary to tell his children so that they could understand some things. Father, you're so amazing. Why didn't you tell us? Yi Qingyan, who was sitting beside Night Sorrow, said with tears in her eyes. All along, she and Yi Yujun had thought that everything was fine with their father being the Imperial Highness of the Azure Emperor Empire. However, the truth was that there were too many difficulties behind the scenes. Now they understood how many hardships there were behind the imposing figure, who could carry the sky. Don't think too much. Just be yourselves. Seeing that you two are doing well, any effort I put in is worth it. Night Sorrow patted Yi Qingyan's shoulder. Look at what little Jay said. After the banquet was over, Qing Emperor and Misty Rain left with Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan. It wasn't appropriate for them to stay in the barracks because they didn't know when a battle would break out. Night Sorrow took out the 9 heavy armor and planned to repair it. The 9 heavy armor was damaged during the battle with Hu Shao and the other 2 sovereigns. Over the past few years he had been imprisoned by Datura Chinensis. His dantian was sealed, so he could not repair the 9 heavy armor. He felt that in 2 or 3 days, the Xinwu Great World would mobilize troops. There would not be any war, so he took the time to fix it. Before, Wu Lingfei had given him the Golden Phoenix soft armor. For a period of time, he couldn't use it because Wu Lingfei's life treasure as a Saint King couldn't support King's battle. Now that Wu Lingfei was king, the Golden Phoenix soft armor's level naturally increased. This was because Night Sorrow, who was already an advanced heavenly master blacksmith, was capable of repairing a monarch weapon. King weapons were divided into beginner king weapons, intermediate king weapons, and advanced king weapons. Monarch weapons were actually top king weapons. The weapons and armor used by heaven masters were also at this level. Night Sorrow used half a day to repair the 9 heavy armor. Then Night Sorrow sensed his own situation. With the increase in light of virtue, his soul defense had become stronger. It could be said that he was immune to some soul attacks. Cultivator's fatal injuries usually came from 2 places, the soul and the body. Now Night Sorrow felt that he had no problems with both. His body's toughness was at the peak of the Star Monarch rank. With the support of the power of Desolates, even monarchs and high-level monarchs couldn't pierce through his body. As for soul defense, Night Sorrow had the 9-region origin pearl. It was a treasure that protected the soul. Outside of the deity ocean, there was also light of virtue. This was his defense. Of course, there were many factors that determined the outcome of a battle, such as speed, strength, elemental restriction, and the power of absolute skills. Night Sorrow was organizing what he had learned every day. Nu Lin and the others were still training the soldiers. The main focus was on formation attack. With formation attack, both offense and defense could be combined. One day, when Night Sorrow was trying to guide the light of virtue into his body to cultivate, Sandalwood came with 2 jars of wine. "Junior brother, I'm here," Sandalwood said after entering the tent. "Senior brother, take a seat. I've been busy recently, so I haven't had the chance to talk to you. Night Sorrow greeted him. I know you're busy, so I came to give you wine. I feel that there are gains and losses in life. I've always wanted to fight side by side with you. Of course, it's worth celebrating that you've become a Sky Master, but I've lost the opportunity, haven't I? Sandalwood said. There will be another chance. I can't fight at a lower level. Besides, the Monarch realm isn't the end of my cultivation, Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's right. When you become a Sky Master, we'll fight side by side. We can go anywhere in the world. We'll kill anyone who disagrees, Sandalwood said with a smile. This was Sandalwood's dominance. You're right, senior brother. Night Sorrow nodded. After opening the jar and drinking 2 mouthfuls of wine, Sandalwood asked Night Sorrow what would happen next. Senior apprentice brother, the main thing is to watch my battle with Prince Jean Hu. If I defeat him, then they will either cease their banners and cease their drums and engage in small-scale harassment battles, or they will erupt into a battle of the highest level. Night Sorrow spoke of his own feelings and judgment. Junior brother, you can fight Mandala Shura without losing. This shows your strength. No matter how strong Prince Jean Hu is, he can't win against a Sky Master, right? That's why I have confidence in you. Also, the world of Samsara isn't afraid of the Sky Master. So what? The Dark Dominator can suppress him. As for the other Sky Masters, I can kill whoever I want. They know the difference in strength, so they won't do it easily. We have fewer Sky Masters, but Origin Dao Heavenly Lord can fight at any time. He sent a letter to Master, so he can send a message whenever he's needed. He's also a powerful Sky Master, Sandalwood said. Just as Night Sorrow and Sandalwood were talking, Jun Xuanji entered the tent. Commander, there's someone outside the camp. It's the commander of the Yuanchu army. That's a guest. I'll go and welcome him. Night Sorrow stood up. Night Sorrow had interacted with Origin Dao Heavenly Lord before, and he had the map to Origin Dao Heavenly Lord. Therefore, he had a good impression of Origin Dao Heavenly Lord. Outside the camp, Night Sorrow saw a man in golden armor. Yufeng greets your highness, Night Sorrow. The man in golden armor cupped his hands at Night Sorrow. Commander Yufeng, you're too courteous. Please come in. Night Sorrow invited the man in golden armor, who was Yufeng, into the main tent. Yufeng greets Lord Blood Emperor. Yufeng immediately bowed when he saw Sandalwood. Although Blood Emperor Sandalwood was a newly ascended Heavenly Lord, he was already a mainstay of the world of Samsara. No need to be so courteous. I used to be a commander of an army. I happen to have some wine. Come, let's drink. Sandalwood nodded at Yufeng. All right, Yufeng, tell me why you're here. It's like this. Master has already sent a message for Yufeng to listen to your highness orders. Even if the entire army is wiped out, we can't go against your highness orders, Yufeng said. Why would the Heavenly Lord make such an arrangement? Night Sorrow was stunned. Speak. Here's the 5th update. There are thousands of people reading books every day, but less than 1,000 people log in to read books. If you don't log in, you won't be able to sign in or rub elbows. How can there be data for becoming a god through 10,000 paths? I'm working very hard. I don't need everyone's financial support. I just need to do my best. If you like becoming a god through 10,000 paths, you have to do something. I'm an author, so I'll do my best. Brothers and sisters, please move your fingers. Log in, sign in, and rub elbows. The next update will be at 5 p.m. Chapter 1388. There must be a reason for Master's arrangement. I'll just carry it out. Besides, I'm excited to be able to fight alongside His Highness. It's been too stressful recently. We monarchs can't beat them and the army can't fight. Although we're not afraid of death, we can't let our soldiers die for nothing, said Yufeng. We're all leaders. It's our duty to cherish our soldiers. They're all brothers. I understand. Come, let's drink. Night Sorrow took out 2 jars of wine. Night Sorrow drank all the wine he had in the Blackwater space. However, there was still some in Sky City and AY gave him some. After drinking, Yufeng went to gather the army. All the armies in the world of Samsara were gathering in Red Origin City. Yufeng is quite capable. He managed the Yuanchu army well. The strongest army is the Nine Heaven Army, followed by the Demon Blood Army and Yuanshu Army. Yu Feng's fighting ability is weaker, but he's good at staying alive. Many monarchs were killed by Prince Xianhu, but he managed to stay alive under Prince Xianhu's attack. This is enough to show that he's not ordinary, said Sandalwood. Knight Sorrow wasn't around for a few years, so he didn't know much. However, Sandalwood knew everything. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. It's fine as long as they're outstanding. Knight Sorrow nodded. Junior brother, it's up to you now, said Sandalwood. My battle with Prince Xianhu might be the turning point of the realm war. If we can defeat him, Shenwu Great World won't be able to do much in the world of Samsara. Then it's time for us to strike. They've been attacking us for 5 or 6 years. It's time for us to fight back, said Knight Sorrow. Fight back? Yes, we have to fight back. It's not in our nature to be passive. We have to fight back. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Sandalwood was excited. He stood up and waved his arms. Then he sighed and sat down. Knight Sorrow asked in confusion. So what if he's a Sky Master? I feel that even if he's a monarch, it's good enough that he can fight side by side with his brothers, Sandalwood said. He knew that there weren't many occasions when Sky Masters fought against each other. After all, the implications were too great. Senior brother, there's no rush. We have time to fight side by side. Knight Sorrow understood Sandalwood. Sandalwood was a casual person. Soon after, Datura entered the tent. He wasn't surprised to see Sandalwood. Because Knight Sorrow cared about Knight Sorrow's feelings, she got along well with Qing Emperor, Misty Rain and Sandalwood. Lord Ruler, you're here. Have a seat, Sandalwood greeted. Blood Emperor, you can call me whatever you call Chuyu and the others. Datura cupped his hands toward Zhan Tan. That's not good. Sandalwood shook her head. Although they were Sky Masters at the same level now, Datura had suppressed a region for countless years. He should be considered a senior. There's nothing bad about it. Knight Sorrow, this is all the information on Prince Xianhu. You defeated Qingyi Marquis and Sha Chongtian. Prince Xianhu and the others must have studied you. You should know more about them too, Datura said as he sat down. And thank you for your hard work, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. You're too polite with me. Also, Yao Shui and Sha Shui will report to you tomorrow. The Sha Shui army and Devil Blood army will be under your command. Datura threw out another sentence. Is that appropriate? I can lead the Nine Heavens army and fight against them. Knight Sorrow looked away from the materials and looked at Datura. What are you thinking? It's not because you're my husband. It's because the army needs your command. Do you think I'm living off you? Can you stop joking? Datura said with a smile. Haha. I have to hand it to the two of you. What level are you at? Why are you still talking about living off me? Sandalwood couldn't help but laugh. All right then. The war is imminent. It'll be much more convenient to have a few armies to work with me. If the Nine Heavens army fights alone, we'll suffer great losses. I won't be able to rest easy. Knight Sorrow nodded. In fact, he was worried. If it weren't for the many armies working together, the Nine Heavens army wouldn't be able to hold on. Even if they could, they would suffer great losses. Those were his brothers. After Sandalwood left, Datura and Knight Sorrow chatted for a while before leaving as well. Knight Sorrow started cultivating. His current body was the indestructible body. He planned to create his own technique and cultivate the true indestructible golden body. The first level of the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome was the indestructible body, also known as the indestructible golden body. Actually, it was not the golden body. The golden body of merit was the real golden body. Therefore, he planned to integrate the light of merit into his body. That way, when combined with the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome, he would have the real indestructible golden body. Knight Sorrow tried to drive the golden light of virtue into his body. Slowly, it worked with the power of desolates to circulate throughout his body. After cultivating the 8 trigrams of virtue, Knight Sorrow gained some insights. However, he felt that it wasn't enough. The golden light of virtue could only protect his spirit sea. If he wanted to protect his body, it wasn't enough. Look at the original version. Chapter Super Knight Sorrow stood up and cultivated an array outside the tent. At this moment, someone came in. Yao Shui, Shi Shui, Akatsuki Yufeng, and another person, Xiuhe, was the commander of the Sima army in the Sima residence. The commanders of the various armies in the world of Samsara had all arrived. They had all received instructions from their leaders to listen to Night Sorrow's orders. Brothers, I won't be polite. Everyone, prepare for battle. Commander Yufeng, lead the Yuanchu army and Nine Heavens army to face the enemy head-on. The Skyheart army and Sima army will be on the left. The Bloodthirsty army and Black Demon army will be on the right. Night Sorrow said. Sir, don't be like this. What will the Yao Shui army do then? We are very strong. The Yao Shui army commander, who looked like a gentleman, was a little anxious because there was no mission for them. Of course there is a mission. I know the Yao Shui army. The soldiers of the Yao Shui army have all cultivated the wind travel technique. They are the fastest. If there are any changes, you will cut off the enemy's retreat. Night Sorrow looked at the Yao Shui army and said, Okay. The mission will be completed. The Yao Shui army said. Xuanji, take out the formation diagrams for the combined attack. Give the formation diagrams for the 3-person and 4-person combined attacks to the commanders. The Dark Abyss army has cultivated these 2 formations before, so give them the 5-person combined attack formation diagrams. Let them cultivate as much as they can in the next 2 days. Yi Shang said to Jun Xuanji. Okay. Jun Xuanji nodded. She knew that this was Night Sorrow's big picture vision. He was willing to contribute. Okay, you all go and make the arrangements now. I will go and make some arrangements. Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow planned to use the formation battle during the army battle. He planned to first eliminate a portion of the Shinwu Great World's army's strength. This way, when they attacked the Shinwu Great World, there would be much less resistance. After instructing the commanders to make the arrangements, Night Sorrow rode the Ice Qilin and left. Then he estimated the location and began to set up the formation. The Azure Supreme Arch and the others looked at Yi Shang's deployment and did not express any opinions. Speak. The 6th update has arrived. Chapter 1389. Night Sorrow estimated the position the Nine Heavens army could occupy based on their current positions. Then he started to set up the formation. Night Sorrow rode the Ice Qilin to set up the spell formations. It took him only half a day to finish setting up the Heaven Sealing Trapping and Killing spell formations, and the Heaven Sealing Illusionary Killing spell formations. Seeing that there were no problems, Night Sorrow called back Xiacheng, Xiandaozi and Shangguan Hong, who were standing guard outside. Uncles, let's go back and drink some tea, Night Sorrow called out. I want to drink some good tea, Summer City said with a laugh. The tense atmosphere before the battle was nowhere to be seen. After returning to the command tent and drinking some tea, Night Sorrow went to check on the various camps. Seeing that everyone was cultivating their joint attack formations, Night Sorrow did not disturb them. He returned to the main tent and continued cultivating. Currently, Night Sorrow had many ways to increase his strength, but he could not do so. He could refine the soul cultivation liquid, but his main body was in a state of enlightenment. He could not do anything else. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, the various armies were preparing for war. Inside Scarlet Origin City's City Lord's office, spies were constantly coming in to report the situation. After summarizing the information, Qing Emperor looked at the other Heaven Masters and said, Night Sorrow's calculations were correct. The other side did not continue fighting elsewhere. Their forces are now gathered in Three Peaks City. Their next target is Scarlet Origin City. Night Sorrow defeated Lin Qingyi and Sha Chongtian. This is a signal. If we don't fight and take down Night Sorrow, then the following attacks will be useless. We won't be able to win the war. If we don't deal with Night Sorrow and the Nine Heaven Army, no matter how much territory you conquer, our world of Samsara will still take it back, Sima Tiancheng said. What's going on? A world war between 2 worlds, and we can only watch as a youngster carries the burden. This is simply unacceptable, Red Emperor said. Capable people do more work. If he can do it, others can't. What can we do? Sima Tiancheng said. This is a hurdle for our world of samsara. It is also a hurdle for Night Sorrow's team. We know that Night Sorrow is strong, but Prince Zhan is also an undefeated monarch. Many of our monarchs have been killed by him. And this is under the circumstances that we are fighting conservatively. If we fight fiercely, who knows how many of our monarchs will die? Misty Rain said. Everyone knew of Night Sorrow's strength, but Prince Zhan's strength was not to be underestimated. He was the world's #1 monarch, an undefeated monarch. At this moment, in the study room of the City Lord residence in Three Peaks City, Heaven Monarch Shen Hu and Prince Zhan were talking. Son, you have to be careful. That Night Sorrow is not simple. Up until now, no one has figured it out. If I'm not wrong, he has the void attribute. As for which branch he belongs to, it's hard to say. So you have to be careful. Kill him, and then our Shenwu Great World's offensive will be able to develop. Prince Zhan said. For countless years, there had not been a complete supreme attribute born, so Prince Zhan did not think in that direction. I understand. If I can contribute to the world war, I will be able to receive the blessings of the Shenwu Great World. Then, I might be able to improve. Prince Zhan said. That's right. The blessings of luck are very important. This time, Father made a mistake. He did not think that the opponent's Death Master and Blood Emperor Sandalwood would be so strong. It will be difficult for us Heaven Masters to win this war. So, we can only rely on you and the army. Prince Zhan said. There were more Heaven Masters in the Shenwu Great World than in the Reincarnation Great World. However, in terms of individual battle strength, Datira and Sandalwood were strong. The Qing Emperor and Sima Tiancheng were not to be trifled with either. There was also another strong Prince Yuandao who had not yet joined the battle. Night Sorrow was also studying Prince Zhan's situation. After looking at the information, Night Sorrow was stunned. Prince Zhan's willpower and attributes were similar to his. Lord God, who was a heaven-devouring tiger, who had attained the Tao through cultivation. His son and grandson had extremely strong cultivation talent, and also had absolute arts. The absolute art's name was Heaven-Devouring. The Heaven-Devouring tiger's attribute was time, and the absolute art was a space-time absolute art. They had a space in their bodies. If they were attacked by their absolute art and could not block it, they would be sucked into their internal space and be annihilated. Even if they were not sucked into their internal space, they would still be affected and killed. Night Sorrow thought for a while. He felt that he had the will of space-time, time, and space attributes. The opponent's absolute art would not affect him much. In addition, the Heaven-Devouring tiger's speed and strength were also very strong. However, Night Sorrow was not afraid of them. Strength was his forte. With a space attribute protective shield, Night Sorrow was not afraid of anyone in terms of speed. Commander, the people from the Shenwu Great World have arrived. However, they are moving slowly. They are advancing steadily and are integrating as they advance. They should arrive in 2 days. Jun Xuanji entered the tent and reported the information he had received. 2 days? That's fine. The Reincarnation Great World's army's combined attacks should be somewhat effective, Night Sorrow said. Isn't it a little rushed? Jun Xuanji asked. It's fine. It's not difficult to cultivate the combined attacks of 3 and 4 people. These soldiers are all very high level. It's not a problem for them to cultivate the combined attacks, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow did not hide anything and took out the combined attacks because he did not want to see too many people die. He also wanted to prepare for a counterattack. The current battlefield was in the Reincarnation World. To the Reincarnation World, there was no way they could win. Therefore, Night Sorrow planned to kill his way out after resolving the war in the Reincarnation World. When the war started, Night Sorrow's plan to send a Heaven Master to the Shenwu Great World to attack the War Tiger Empire's main city had been put on hold. This was because no one wanted to start a war between Heaven Masters. If they fought, both sides would have no bottom line, and the war would be out of control. If there's nothing else, I'll continue to collect information. You be careful, Jun Xuanji said and left the command tent. At this moment, Qing Lin and Qing Wan came and entered the tent. Junior brother, why didn't you give us a mission? Qing Lin asked. Even if you didn't come, I would have looked for you. Men, informed the commander of the Red Emperor's empire, Chiwa, to come over. Knight Sorrow said to the messenger soldier at the door. After Chiwa came, Knight Sorrow told him his second plan. Senior sister Qing Wan, senior brother Qing Lin, Prince Chiwa, I've received news that the Shenwu Great World's army has gathered at the Three Peak City. This means that they have no time to care about other places. The three of you will lead the army to battle and conquer the areas that the reincarnation world has occupied, Knight Sorrow said. Qing Lin, Qing Wan, and Chiwa all wanted to see how Knight Sorrow would fight to the death with the War Tiger Prince. However, Knight Sorrow had given them a mission, and they had to carry it out. After Qing Lin, Qing Wan, and Chiwa left, Knight Sorrow continued to study the use of the Light of Merit. The conquest battle had begun. Qing Lin, Qing Wan, and Chiwa led their troops and began to conquer the occupied areas. Headzi issue the people of the Shenwu Great World didn't react when they received the news, because that wasn't important. Only the battle at Red Origin City could change the situation. Speak. The 7th update has arrived. There are still 3 updates to be completed before 10 o'clock. Chapter 1390. Knight Sorrow didn't react to the arrival of the Shenwu Great World's army. The various armies were already fully prepared for war. Knight Sorrow was concerned about whether the formation he had set up had been discovered. The Shenwu Great World's army was advancing at an extremely slow speed. They were integrating their forces as they advanced. Integration was an indispensable part of a joint battle. Knight Sorrow had already completed the integration of the Reincarnation World's army. However, the Shenwu Great World's army still needed time to integrate. Previously, they were all fighting individually. Now that they needed a large-scale joint battle, they needed to be integrated and mobilized. Everyone knew that the Battle of Scarlet Origin City would be recorded in history. It was a heavy stroke because this battle would change the situation of the war. Knight Sorrow wasn't in a hurry. Perhaps the opponent's army's combat strength would increase after they were integrated. However, this situation also existed in the Reincarnation World's army. Moreover, the Reincarnation World's army's combat strength had more room for improvement compared to the Shenwu Great World's army. This was because they were all cultivating the joint attack formation. The Reincarnation World's army was stationed outside Scarlet Origin City. The Heaven Masters were all on the city gate. If it wasn't a battle between Heaven Masters, they could only watch without any room to make a move. When Knight Sorrow wasn't around, they had to make arrangements for the army's mobilization. Now that these matters were handed over to Knight Sorrow, they didn't care and didn't ask about it. Qing Emperor, our Sima Manor has benefited from you this time. After learning your joint attack formation, we will definitely make it up to you in the future. Sima Tianqing said. Red Emperor and Li Batian also had the same thoughts. The joint attack formation wasn't that difficult, but no one had researched it. Now that their army was cultivating the joint attack formation, it was a favor. Actually, the level of the joint attack formation isn't very high. However, I've seen it and its effects are indeed very strong. Why didn't I think of this problem before? Red Emperor said. You have to return this favor to Knight Sorrow. The joint attack formation is his, not mine. Qing Emperor said. His combat strength is outstanding, and his style of doing things is domineering. With such a personality, he can still study array formations? Heavenly Lord Precious Fragrance said in astonishment. Not only is he good at research, but he's also very accomplished. He's already an advanced Heavenly Adept Array Master. He's also an artifact refiner and alchemist, Qing Emperor said with a smile. All-round development. That is very tiring. However, if you achieve something, you don't have to ask for help, the Red Emperor said with a smile. Then I'll show off to you guys. Knight Sorrow is also an advanced Heavenly Adept Weapon Forger and Alchemist. You guys can go to him if you need anything, but if you want to work for him, you'll have to pay the price, Qing Emperor said. Qing Emperor, when it comes to recruiting disciples, no one can compare to you. Sima Tianqing said with a smile. How many disciples have each of you taken in? It took me so many years to get 2. It's not easy, the Qing Emperor said. Seeing that the enemy's army was advancing slowly, Night Sorrow ignored them and returned to his tent to continue cultivating the indestructible golden body of merit. Although he didn't have enough light of merit, Night Sorrow's body had been baptized by the light of merit. His energy circulation was also filled with a majestic aura. On this day, Night Sorrow had just finished cultivating when a guest came. It was the Marquis of Qingyi, Lin Qingyi from the Shimwu Great World's Heavenly Moon Pavilion. "What are you doing here?" Night Sorrow asked Lin Qingyi after hearing Jun Xuanji's report. "To watch the battle." Lin Qingyi spat out 2 words. "That's because it's appropriate to go there, right?" Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. "It's not appropriate. Because the Heavenly Moon Pavilion withdrew from the realm war. They are now more hostile towards each other." "Why? Don't you have the magnanimity and courage to do so?" Lin Qingyi, who was wearing a red robe and a white veil, asked. "Yes, please." Night Sorrow nodded. He saw that Lin Qingyi's eyes were very clear, and felt that she didn't have any ulterior motives. Night Sorrow brought Lin Qingyi to the command tent and made a pot of tea. He didn't say anything. "The Heavenly Moon Pavilion has all retreated and won't participate in the realm war. So you don't have to look at me with hostility. I'm here to see if the first monarch of the world of Samsara, or the Shimwu Great World, is more powerful," Lin Qingyi said. "You'll be viewed as an enemy. People in the Shimwu Great World will think that you're a traitor." Night Sorrow looked at Lin Qingyi and said, "I have a clear conscience. I don't care." Lin Qingyi said, "If you don't care, I don't care either. Xuanji, since you're here, you're a guest. I'll arrange accommodation for you next to your tent later," Night Sorrow joked. Night Sorrow didn't care about Lin Qingyi. Lin Qingyi stayed in the Nine Heavens Army's camp alone. Night Sorrow knew that she wasn't a spy and didn't ask about it. She could do whatever she wanted. After a day, while Night Sorrow was reading information about the Shimwu Great World, Lin Qingyi came to Night Sorrow's command tent. She made tea for herself and poured a cup for Night Sorrow. "If you can take down Prince Zhan Hu, you'll win the realm war if there are no changes." Starter square root hee. "How did you come to such a conclusion?" Night Sorrow said with a smile. "Your Nine Heavens army is very strong. No other army in the Shimwu Great World can compare to it. Whether it's power or spirit, it's all on point," Lin Qingyi said. "Thank you for your praise of my brother." Yishan cupped his hands towards Lin Qingyi. "I'm just speaking the truth. After the war, you can come to the Shimwu Great World. I, Lin Qingyi, will take care of you," Lin Qingyi said. "I have to go. The war won't end so easily," Night Sorrow said. You want to fight?" Lin Qingyi was stunned when she heard Night Sorrow's words. She thought of something. "Since you've guessed it, I won't hide it from you. Do you think we'll just take a beating and be done with it? Either they completely defeat us, or they don't defeat us and beat us up, and then they just walk away? That's impossible," Night Sorrow said. "That's the reason. I have nothing to say." Lin Qingyi sighed. "If Tianyua Pavilion doesn't join in, I can make the decision that the Reincarnation World's army won't enter Tianyua Pavilion's territory," Night Sorrow said. "Tianyua Pavilion doesn't do shameless things. A loss is a loss. If you kill without a bottom line, we won't do anything. My master's side will also have the same attitude," Lin Qingyi said. "All right, you can watch the war as a VIP. If the Zhangwu dynasty and Martial Sacred Palace want to fight, I'll fight with them to the end," Night Sorrow said. "What kind of grudge do you have against each other? Why would they join forces to fight? In the end, the grudge war turned into a realm war," Lin Qingyi asked. "It's a long story. The Martial Sacred Hall wanted to seize the treasure. Back then, a few forces from the world of reincarnation launched an attack on the Azure Emperor dynasty. As for the Zhanwu dynasty, I can only say that they're shameless. They wanted to marry the princess of the Qing Emperor's dynasty by force. Who do they think they are? They're asking for a beating," Night Sorrow said angrily. "Speak." The first watch arrived. Chapter 1391. After being stunned for a moment, Lin Qingyi asked for the details. Night Sorrow didn't hide anything. He told her about the conflict between Lord of Heaven Fierce Tiger and the Qing Emperor during his wedding, as well as the declaration of war by the Martial Sacred Palace. What a disgrace. You really deserve a beating, Lin Qingyi said with a cold face. Therefore this war must be fought. Knight Sorrow nodded. He didn't expect that there would be people in the Shenwu Great World who could understand him. Then may I ask, since the Martial Sacred Hall has declared war on you, do you have a Heavenly Dao artifact? If you do, let me see it. I definitely don't have any disloyalty. I just haven't seen it before, Lin Qingyi said. It is indeed the heavenly artifact, but it is incomplete. It has the effect of accelerating time. My original body is using it to cultivate, so you can't see it for the time being. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. There was nothing he couldn't say. He could survive in the face of a heaven master, who could kill him and snatch it. This isn't your original body? No matter how strong the doppelganger is, it is only a part of the original body's combat strength. If the doppelganger is so strong, then the original body must be even more powerful. The gap between us is huge. Lin Qingyi sized up Knight Sorrow. You are going to fight with your original body? Aren't you afraid of being destroyed? Knight Sorrow asked Lin Qingyi. I am not afraid. I have life-saving means. Even if I encounter a strong enemy and get killed, I can protect my soul. Although I am seriously injured and need a long time to reconstruct my body to recover my cultivation, it is still a guarantee, Lin Qingyi said. My original body needs to cultivate and comprehend will. Therefore, I can only send my doppelganger to fight, Knight Sorrow said. In fact, the original body and doppelganger could be detected by soul inspection. However, it was impolite to do so rashly. Generally, no one would do so. If there is a chance, I will see your heavenly artifact. Let's see how you fare in this battle. Lin Qingyi nodded. I have to say that your position is very dangerous. If you are here, it won't be good if the people of the Shenwu Great World see you. Maybe you don't care, but it will bring a lot of trouble. For the sake of the gentleman's battle, I will remind you to disguise yourself, Knight Sorrow said to Lin Qingyi. Look at Jie Jingji, version of chapter, section 1. Lin Qingyi thought about it and nodded. She understood what Knight Sorrow said. After that, Jun Xuanji left with Lin Qingyi and went to another tent to rest. Knight Sorrow drank tea and pondered. For example, if War Tiger Prince and his doppelganger were to fight together, the battle would be a bit more difficult. Exhaling, Knight Sorrow stood up. So what? He wasn't even afraid of the mandala, so why would he be afraid of him? After calming down, Knight Sorrow began to cultivate the invincible golden body. After 5 days of peace, the army of Shenwu Great World arrived outside Red Origin City and faced off against the army of Samsara Great World. The Shenwu Great World Legion was located in the area where Knight Sorrow had set up the formation. Uncles, you know the area where I set up the formation. After the battle starts, don't worry about anything else. Just insert 2 spirit stones into the formation, and the formation will be activated. Knight Sorrow said to Summer City, Shangguan Hong, and Xian Daozi. The 3 from Summer City nodded. They knew that the real bloody battle was coming. It was the core battle of this realm war. Datura came to Knight Sorrow's side and said, Be careful during the battle. There's no need to go all out. You still have a lot of room for improvement. You still have a lot of clones to fight, and your battle strength isn't at its peak. Aoyuo, don't worry. It's true that I'm using a clone to fight, but not just anyone can injure me. Go tell my master and the others that I'm going to be ruthless this time, so their heaven overlords might interfere, said Yishan. Knight Sorrow was worried about this. When the Shenwu Great World Legion suffered heavy losses, the other party's heaven masters might interfere. Datura nodded. She knew that Knight Sorrow was going to be ruthless this time. If the other party couldn't withstand it, it would be a huge loss for them. After that, Datura went to communicate with the other heaven masters. What do you mean? Are you worried that the other party's heaven masters will interfere if the other party suffers heavy losses? Sima Tiancheng looked at Datura and asked. Yes, so we have to make some preparations. Datura nodded. This is a good thing. Our main body and clones are all here. If Knight Sorrow can succeed, then we have to consolidate our strength, Misty Rain said. Knight Sorrow was very calm. He also notified the various army commanders to prepare for battle. Are you very calm? Lin Qingyi came to Night Sorrow's side and asked. Not really. I'm very excited. There aren't many fighters like this. I don't care about fame, but I want to know who's the first sovereign. Night Sorrow said as he looked in the direction of the Shenwu Great World Legion. I don't know who's stronger between you and Prince Zhanhu, but I can say that given time, you'll definitely be the first sovereign. Lin Qingyi said seriously. Maybe I'm the first sovereign now. Night Sorrow smiled. He was confident in himself. Night Sorrow knew that the other party wouldn't fight today. They would first show off their momentum and pressure the soldiers of the Reincarnation Great World. Then they would officially fight. The Shenwu Great World Legion indeed didn't start fighting directly. If this method works on us, then our Nine Heavens Legion won't be able to survive. Jun Xuanji snorted coldly. Don't mind it. Some people can think about it. Night Sorrow said and returned to his tent. Night Sorrow returned to his tent and sat down to meditate. At this time, no one would ambush him. There was no point in ambushing him. Who wouldn't be prepared? Moreover, the next battle would be the battle between the strongest sovereigns. Whoever ambushed him would be at a disadvantage. Dawn. The sun didn't appear. The clouds in the sky were very low. Strong winds swept away the clouds and churned above the battlefield. The atmosphere was very somber. This was the most important battle in the Realm War. It was very important to the Reincarnation Great World, so it was normal for the weather to be different. At this time, the Shenwu Great World Legion moved forward. Following this, a burly middle-aged man with golden hair and a red ribbon appeared riding a silver dragon. Night Sorrow's body flashed and landed on Ice Chilin's back. He also walked out of the Legion's camp. Night Sorrow, come out. I, War Tiger Prince, will kill you today. War Tiger Prince shouted towards the Reincarnation Great World Legion. Seeing Night Sorrow come out and shout, War Tiger Prince did it for the sake of momentum. He didn't need to talk about his personal needs, but the soldiers of the Legion needed it. Today was not only a battle between sovereigns, but also a battle between legions. I thought you were a hero, but now it seems like you're just SSO. Your thoughts are useless. Nine Heavens Legion, are you afraid of battle? Night Sorrow pointed at the sky with his right hand and shouted, We are invincible. Kill all who come. Nine Heavens Legion. Invincible. The Nine Heavens Legion shouted out two slogans. Night Sorrow looked back and nodded in satisfaction. He then looked at War Tiger Prince and said, Use your strength to speak. Speak. Update 9. Actually, the most awesome slogan was, 10,000 troops, not a single blade of grass will survive. Update 10, 10:20 a.m. There were a few blackouts today. I had no choice. Chapter 1392. Prince Zhanhu glared at Night Sorrow. Because of Night Sorrow's simple sentence, his plan to build up momentum had been foiled. Don't try to play tricks with me. It's meaningless and makes you seem childish, Night Sorrow said coldly. Don't say such useless things. Once I kill you, everything will be solved. Prince Zhanhu said with narrowed eyes. If you can survive in this world with your mouth, then I have to say that you will do very well. Night Sorrow looked at Prince Zhanhu and said, Then you can die. Prince Zhanhu's body shook. He flew off the silver dragon and charged at Yi Shan. Yi Shang's feet trembled as he rose into the air and flew towards Prince Zhanhu. The battle between the strongest monarchs had officially begun. Both of them are top-tier monarchs. This is a battle of fate. Someone is destined to rise, Li Tianhu said. Can you speak? Night Sorrow will rise from this battle. He will be unrivaled among the monarchs. Datura stared at Li Tianhu. Haha. My mouth doesn't know how to speak, Li Tianhu said with a smile. I have confidence in Night Sorrow, Qing Emperor said. At this moment, Night Sorrow and Prince Zhanhu began to fight in close quarters. Prince Zhanhu's blade slashed at Night Sorrow's sky rend. After a loud explosion, the two separated. Night Sorrow only retreated 5 or 6 feet because of the splash of energy. However, Prince Zhanhu was sent flying 200 feet because of the impact. This caused the spectators to be very shocked. The cultivators of Shenwu Great World all knew that the sky-devouring tiger race was extremely strong. However, when compared to Night Sorrow, a human cultivator, They were at a disadvantage. After repelling Prince Zhanhu, Yishang knew that he had the upper hand in terms of strength. Night Sorrow unleashed a linear cut on his protective shield as he rushed forward. Once again he used the Void Extreme Strike. Following an explosion, War Tiger Prince was forced back a distance, but it was better than before. He swung his saber at Night Sorrow. Prince Zhanhu's battle blade was very long, about 6 meters long. It was wrapped in gray energy, which was the energy of time. Come on. Let's see how powerful your time energy is. Let's see what you're going to use to kill me. Night Sorrow's Nihility willpower suppressed Prince Zhanhu and then used Nihility Extreme Point to kill him. The sound of energy explosions continued to ring out. War Tiger Prince was forced back by Night Sorrow's attacks. In terms of strength, Night Sorrow had the advantage. In terms of speed, Night Sorrow also had the advantage. In addition, War Tiger Prince had the advantage in attributes. It was only natural that War Tiger Prince would be suppressed. This was the restraint of strength, speed, and elemental laws. Everyone was very surprised. Originally, everyone thought that they should be evenly matched. Even if one was stronger, it would only be by a bit. However, the battle proved that it was not the case. Other than the initial slash, War Tiger Prince was passively defending. What's going on? Overwhelming him? Red Emperor said with some surprise. He can fight with Datura Chinensis and not lose. That means he has the strength to fight against a big shot. War Tiger Prince is not enough, right? Gap, this is the gap. His foundation is deep, but who knows how deep it is? Lord of Precious Fragrance said. Night Sorrow did not feel any pressure as he suppressed War Tiger Prince. You want to kill me? This bit of strength is not enough. Continue. Night Sorrow fiercely pushed War Tiger Prince back, and then shouted. You deserve to die. After being pushed back by Night Sorrow, War Tiger Prince's eyes were bloodshot. He had lost face. He was Shinwu Great World's #1 monarch, but now? He was being suppressed. After letting out a low roar, War Tiger Prince's body flashed, and a doppelganger appeared. It also held a battle sword and attacked Night Sorrow. Afterimage Body. Night Sorrow used Afterimage Body and then attacked War Tiger Prince's doppelganger, which was relatively weaker. Figures flew and energy surged. Night Sorrow and War Tiger Prince began to fight in the air above the battlefield. The winner has been decided. War Tiger Prince's original body and doppelganger are fighting together. If they can't take down Junior Brother's doppelganger, what right does he have to be called the strongest monarch? Zhantan snorted. She was already dissatisfied. Night Sorrow was fighting with his doppelganger, but his opponent was fighting with his original body and doppelganger. Although Night Sorrow was only a doppelganger, he was not at a disadvantage. The Afterimage Body was controlled by his soul. Although it did not have any attacking power, it could dodge attacks. In addition, Night Sorrow's strength and speed were suppressing War Tiger Prince, so the battle was still evenly matched. Damn it. I'll make sure you don't even have a corpse left. War Tiger Prince was getting more and more angry. His original body and doppelganger were fighting together. If they could not take down Night Sorrow, it meant that they were not as good as Night Sorrow. Look at the original chapter. You only know how to talk. Can't you say something more nutritious? Night Sorrow replied. Tiger Roaring Wave. War Tiger Prince's original body and doppelganger retreated a little. Then, both of them opened their mouths and roared at Night Sorrow's doppelganger. It was an ultimate skill, a sound wave attack. There was no such thing. In the information that Night Sorrow had read, War Tiger Prince did not have such an ultimate skill. Caught off guard, Night Sorrow's doppelganger was all shattered. Swallow the Sky. After dispersing Night Sorrow's doppelganger, War Tiger Prince used his ultimate skill, Swallow the Sky. He first used the Tiger Roaring Wave to break Night Sorrow's doppelganger. Then he used his ultimate skill, Swallow the Sky. When fighting against normal monarchs, War Tiger Prince only needed to use his doppelganger or his original body to use Swallow the Sky. However, he knew that Night Sorrow was very strong. So he used both his original body and doppelganger together to kill Night Sorrow. War Tiger Prince's original body and doppelganger both opened their mouths. Two gray energy whirlpools swept towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's space-time willpower burst forth. The space-time energy shield kept vibrating. Stalemate. With the space-time willpower suppressing War Tiger Prince's Swallow the Sky, War Tiger Prince's energy whirlpools did not affect Night Sorrow. The two sides were in a stalemate. Lord God Tiger stood up. He felt that the situation was not good. This was War Tiger Prince's strongest move. If it could not do anything to Night Sorrow, then they would not be able to win this battle. After a moment of stalemate, Night Sorrow made his move. His willpower and energy instantly switched. They became void willpower and void energy. At this time, War Tiger Prince's doppelganger's Swallow the Sky whirlpool came close to Night Sorrow's body. It was immediately destroyed. Night Sorrow's body flashed as he followed the pulling force of the energy vortex released by War Tiger Prince's true body towards War Tiger Prince. Great Emperor Cycle Slash. When he got close to War Tiger Prince's original body, Night Sorrow used his ultimate skill. A battle of life and death was not for learning. It was for killing. Now Night Sorrow wanted to kill War Tiger Prince because he had killed many people. Among them, there was demon blood that Night Sorrow was familiar with. A purple halo exploded. It rushed through the gray energy and enveloped War Tiger Prince's head. Then, with a whistling sound, Sky Splitter pierced towards War Tiger Prince's head. Speak. The 10th update has arrived. Today's 10th update has ended. Thank you, brothers. Congratulations, brother, for leveling up to Black Diamond. Rest for a while, then repay brother and continue. Chapter 1393. In previous battles, Night Sorrow had not dared to fully unleash the will of the void. He had always been secretive and had not been able to fully display its might. But now he was no longer afraid. If a Heaven Master attacked him, he would be able to survive. Thus he no longer had any scruples. Using the will of nothingness as the main body of the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash, the power was much stronger than before. The purple light directly melted the gray space-time energy from Prince Jean-Hu. After passing through it, it enveloped Prince Jean-Hu's head. Seeing that it was effective, Night Sorrow quickly attacked with the Space Slicer. The energy from the Space Slicer pierced through the gray energy whirlpool and through Prince Jean-Hu's forehead. Prince Jean-Hu's head was destroyed without a sound. Night Sorrow's body flashed, and his left hand grabbed Prince Jean-Hu's storage ring. He then turned around to face Prince Jean-Hu's clone. Are you going to use this strength to shout that you want to kill me? Your original body is dead. Night Sorrow waved the Space Slicer and charged towards Prince Jean-Hu. Prince Jean-Hu's body flashed and he immediately ran. How would he dare to fight? Both his original body and clone were not a match for Night Sorrow. Now that his original body was destroyed and only his clone was left, he no longer had the ability to fight. Night Sorrow's body flashed and he began his pursuit. Since there was a chance to kill, he would naturally take it to his death. You're courting death. Heaven Lord God whose body flashed and he flew towards the area where Night Sorrow and Prince Jean-Hu were chasing. You're the one who's courting death. Datura, who had been observing the battle, flashed and arrived at the battlefield. He waved his hollow blade and slashed towards Heaven Lord God Hu. However, Night Sorrow wasn't able to catch up to Prince War Tiger. It wasn't that his speed was inferior to Prince War Tiger's, but that the distance between them was too short. Prince War Tiger was rushing towards the Divine Martial Great World's Heaven Master camp. No matter how bold Night Sorrow was, he could not run into the Heaven Masters of the other party. Seeing Prince Jean-Hu run back, Sky Lord Shun-Hu dodged Datura's blade and also retreated. He knew he couldn't beat Datura. Why are you running away? Aren't you going to kill me? If you continue to be so arrogant, I'll kill you. All of you listen up. This is the Reincarnation Great World. It's not a place where you can behave atrociously. Prince Jean-Hu, remember this. I'll kill your true body this time. The next time we meet, I'll kill you thoroughly. Night Sorrow pointed at War Tiger Prince and roared. Datura also retreated to Night Sorrow's side. Kill. Kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive. The furious War Tiger Prince roared. Upon hearing Prince Jean-Hu's command, Shinwu Great World's army charged towards Night Sorrow and the Nine Heavens army. Kill them all? Very good. Nine Heavens Army fight. Knight Sorrow waved his Sky Lord and gave the order. If Prince Jean who wanted to kill them all, he wouldn't hold back either. At this moment, the Heaven Masters of the Reincarnation Great World were floating in the air and staring at the Shinwu Great World's Heaven Masters. They were not allowed to interfere in the war between the armies. The first release of the war started and both armies started to move. Summer City, Shangguanhong, and Xiandaozi avoided the enemy's attack path and reached the array formation area. They used the Saint Spirit Stone to activate the array formation. The array formation was activated at an extremely fast speed. In an instant, it covered the Shinwu Great World's army that hadn't rushed out of the area. Knight Sorrow's men moved. The Sky Heart Army and Sima Army on the left, and the Bloodthirsty Army and Black Evil Army on the right all rushed out and attacked the Shinwu Great World's army. Nine Heavens Army and Yuanchu Army followed Knight Sorrow and attacked the War Tiger Army. God Tiger, you better not move. If you move, it won't be as simple as a realm war. No matter how big our losses are, you guys won't be able to return. Qing Emperor looked at Lord God Tiger, who was also in the air. Lord God Tiger's eyelids twitched. He wanted to attack, but he couldn't. Some things were beyond his expectations. He was on par with Datura. Other than Sandalwood and Qing Emperor, others couldn't stop them. If they fought, there would be casualties. This was something he couldn't bear. The battle between the armies was intense. However, the Reincarnation Great World's army had the absolute upper hand, especially the Nine Heavens Army. They were in groups of 3 and 5, and their killing power was extremely high. Those who were targeted by them would definitely be killed. Lord God Tiger looked at Datura and the others, but he couldn't do anything. He could only watch as the soldiers of his army were killed. Defeated. Lord God Tiger knew that they had lost this battle. After War Tiger Prince was killed, the momentum of the Shinwu Great World had already dissipated. In addition, Knight Sorrow's array had trapped a portion of the people. The remaining portion couldn't withstand the full force of the Reincarnation Great World's army. Retreat. Heaven Monarch Shenhu shouted. You want to retreat? Chase after them. Yi Shang gave the order once again. When Prince Jean who had shouted that he would kill all of them, Yi Shang had been infuriated, so he would not be polite now. The Shinwu Great World's army retreated. Knight Sorrow led his men to chase after them. Knight Sorrow wasn't a murderous person. However, he knew that now wasn't the time to be merciful. If he was merciful now, the Shinwu Great World's army would still have strength and fight again. Black Evil Army, stay behind. Send a message to the Green Qilin Army, Green Phoenix Army, and Chihuahua Army to come back. Trap the troops in the array. Knight Sorrow turned around and shouted to the Black Evil Army. He led his army to bypass the area where he set up the array. He ignored the soldiers of the Shinwu Great World who were trapped and started killing the soldiers of the Shinwu Great World who were retreating. The battle was very intense as they chased after them. The soldiers of the Reincarnation Great World were in high spirits. This was because this was the first time they had fought a battle to their heart's content. The leaders of both sides were also moving. They were above the soldiers who were fighting. Neither side made a move. There was no need for Qing Emperor and the others. They didn't need to make a move. The battle was already won. Lord God Tiger and the others couldn't make a move. If they made a move, Qing Emperor and the others would definitely make a move. After chasing for half a day, Knight Sorrow gave the order to stop the chase. Because they could no longer chase after them. The Divine Martial Great World's legions had all been scattered. Retreat. Knight Sorrow led his army back to Red Origin City. Red Origin City was still in a mess. When Knight Sorrow arrived outside Scarlet Origin City, he saw that the Black Fiend Legion, the Green Phoenix Legion, and the Green Qilin Legion were surrounding the array formation. Those who charged out of the array formation without resisting would be captured, tied up, and thrown to the side. Those who resisted would be killed. Surround them. After I release the array, kill those who resist. Those who don't resist, capture them first. Knight Sorrow said as he released the array. When the array was released, the soldiers of the Shinwu Great World saw the Reincarnation Great World surrounding them. How could they resist? After capturing all of them, Yi Shang returned to the big tent in the barracks. After Yi Shang entered, he saw that Lin Qingyi was there too. A complete victory. Just as I expected. Prince Jean, who wasn't a match for you. It seems like you didn't use your full strength when you fought with me. Lin Qingyi looked at Night Sorrow and said, Speak. First update. Chapter 1394. Your Excellency, you think too much. I was just lucky, Night Sorrow said. It's not luck, it's strength. Your world of Samsara won, and they lost the ability to continue fighting. That's strange. Why didn't you bring your men to the Thunder Cliff? That's their stronghold for attacking the world of Samsara. If you took it down, wouldn't you gain more benefits? Lin Qingyi said. Your Excellency, I have my considerations. If we took down the Thunder Cliff, the scattered soldiers of Shimwu Great World would not be able to return. If they stayed, it would affect the peace of the world of Samsara. Therefore, I gave them a chance to go back, Night Sorrow said. Your Excellency is very awkward. You can call me Qingho. That's what my friends call me. Besides, if you don't pursue the victory, you will lose the opportunity to fight. When the people of Shimwu Great World leave, the teleportation formation will be destroyed. Won't you suffer a loss? Lin Qingyi said. She felt that Night Sorrow's move was a mistake. It was a mistake that the number one commander of the world of Samsara should not make. Go. Qingho, actually I have other arrangements. Is it only the teleportation formation that they set up? The world of Samsara also set up a teleportation formation when the war started. I know you don't care about the realm war now. It doesn't matter if I tell you. When they leave and the teleportation formation at the Thunder Cliff is destroyed, it will be impossible for the Shimwu Great World to enter the world of Samsara. In the future, I can fight whenever I want, but they can't. Today's battle is just the beginning of the realm war for me. Night Sorrow said as he brewed a pot of tea. You have a flawless plan. I used my own thinking to measure you. That was a mistake. Lin Qingyi laughed self-deprecatingly. I just made a secret move in advance. It's more effective. Night Sorrow poured a cup of tea for Lin Qingyi. A secret move? You made one secret move after another. Today's trap and kill formation directly reduced the combat power of Shimwu Great World by half. It allowed the world of Samsara to win this turning battle with a small loss, Lin Qingyi said. We caught a lot of people today. I don't want to kill too many people. What do you think we should do with these people? Night Sorrow asked Lin Qingyi. What do you think? Lin Qingyi looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. There was no need for Night Sorrow to tell her about these things. If you can arrange it, I can hand that person over to you. I don't have any other requests. Just don't harm our reincarnation great world, and don't participate in this realm war. Once the realm war is over, they can go back, Night Sorrow said. You're still so kind? I think you're quite ruthless today. Lin Qingyi didn't understand, because the current Yishang was completely different from the Yishang who had fought on the battlefield. It's different. That's war. I didn't kill, I was merciful. Those who died were my brothers. Now that the battle is over, there's no need to continue killing. Participating in the realm war is not a crime in itself. They might have been fathers or sons. It doesn't matter if they die, but what they leave behind is the grief of their families, said Yishan. You're right. Leave these people to me. Lin Qingyi nodded. Uncle Xiandaozi, bring Qingho over. Tell him that I want all the captives to be handed over to Qingho. Night Sorrow said to Xiandaozi, who entered the tent. Just as Xiandaozi and Lin Qingyi left, Night Sorrow's body shone brightly. It was a golden light. Meritorious body. The moment the meritorious saint changed, Night Sorrow understood. He had won this battle for the reincarnation great world. He had become a meritorious saint in the reincarnation great world. The meritorious light in his body was very strong. The 9 regions world would be a supreme world like the reincarnation great world in the future. However, it was not possible now. Therefore, the meritorious light in the meritorious saint of the 9 regions world was not enough to support him to become a meritorious saint of the reincarnation great world. However, after this battle, Night Sorrow had enough merit to become a meritorious saint. Moreover, it was not the same feeling as when he had just become a meritorious saint. It could even be said that the light of merit he had obtained this time made Night Sorrow not far from becoming a meritorious saint. Night Sorrow thought about it and understood. This was a realm war. It was a battle between the Reincarnation Great World and the Shinwu Great World. He had killed Prince Jianhu, which was a turning point. He had also led his army to victory and laid the foundation for the realm war. It was reasonable for him to have great merit. After getting used to it, Night Sorrow stored the light of merit in his body and went to the city lord's mansion. At this time, the Heaven Masters had all returned and were drinking tea and chatting. When they saw Night Sorrow, they all smiled because Night Sorrow had made a name for himself. The first monarch of the Shinwu Great World had fought together with his clone, but Night Sorrow had killed the first monarch. They were not on the same level at all. Night Sorrow sat down beside Datura. Then, the Qing Emperor asked Night Sorrow what he wanted to do next. Night Sorrow told the Qing Emperor and the others about the arrangement of the captives. That's good. It's okay to kill them during the war. After the war, it's not appropriate to kill the captives. It's immoral. You can arrange it as you see fit. The Qing Emperor said, Master, I plan to attack the Shinwu Great World after stabilizing the situation. The victory of the realm war is important, but the stability of our Reincarnation Great World is more important. Night Sorrow expressed his thoughts. We have no objections. The army of the Reincarnation Great World will be under your command now and in the future, Sima Tiancheng said. This was his attitude. In the Reincarnation Great World, the Qing Emperor's dynasty, the Dark Abyss, and the Red Emperor's empire were all on the same side. The Blackfiend Valley was also riding on Night Sorrow's coattails. Everyone knew this, and the Li brothers didn't mind. First, Yuandao Heavenly Lord also said that the Yuanchu army would be led by Night Sorrow. Therefore, Sima Tiancheng's attitude was the final decision. Okay, I won't favor one and discriminate against the other. I'll treat it the same. Night Sorrow made a promise. Night Sorrow, there's bad news. According to the spy of the Dark Abyss in the Celestial Sect, Lord of Heaven God who went to the Celestial Sect. However, we didn't find out what he did or what he discussed. Datura said. This is an unstable factor, but we can't act directly now. Let's ignore them for now. Next, we'll reclaim our lost land and stabilize it. Then we'll attack the Thunder Cliff. After the Reincarnation Great World is stabilized, we'll go to war. The Zhangwu dynasty and the Martial Sacred Palace must pay the price. We must let them know that there's a price to pay for provoking others. Night Sorrow said. After communicating with everyone, Night Sorrow returned to the tent and rushed to the place where the captives were held. At this time, Lin Qingyi was talking to the captives. She said that the realm war was different from the grudge war. A loss was a loss. She told the captives to settle down, and that they could go back after the realm war. Seeing that everything was stable, Night Sorrow returned to the tent and asked Red and Blue to be on guard. He began to cultivate and study the newly advanced light of merit. Speak. The second chapter has arrived. Thank you, brother. For I don't know. Shui Jing unsealed yesterday's chapter. Thank you, brother. Yesterday you gave me an essential oil and 2 strength pills. Chapter 1395. There were many things that Night Sorrow didn't need to worry about. Once he set the direction, there would be people to carry it out. Just like now, the post-war reorganization of the army was arranged by the commander and the general. Those who came to find Night Sorrow and found out that Night Sorrow was cultivating would deal with it themselves. If they couldn't deal with it themselves, they would go to the city lord's mansion to seek advice from the Heaven Masters. He's still cultivating at this time. It seems like there's a lot of room for improvement, Red Emperor said. He came back to participate in the war right after he advanced, so there's still a lot of room for improvement, Qing Emperor said. He has already risen and his momentum is unstoppable. He can protect himself in front of a Heaven Master just after he advanced. After he stabilizes and improves his will, his strength will be no different from a Heaven Master, Sima Tiancheng said. So when he's cultivating, there are some things that we have to deal with. We have to support him fully. Precious Fragrance Heaven looked at Datura and said, She admired Datira's foresight. He was able to discover that Night Sorrow was a talent at such an early stage. Also, everyone get ready. After the situation stabilizes, Night Sorrow will lead people to counterattack. We have to deal with some auxiliary problems, Qing Emperor said to the group. Night Sorrow was cultivating the immortal golden body in the tent. It was to integrate the light of virtue into his body and circulate it with the energy in his body. In the past, he couldn't cultivate it because he didn't have enough light of virtue. Now that his light of virtue was abundant, he could naturally do it. After 6 days, Night Sorrow completed the integration of the light of virtue and the energy in his body. The true immortal golden body was cultivated. Walking out of the tent, Night Sorrow nodded to Hong Yi and Lanning. Thank you for your hard work these few days. Hong Yi and Lanning were king. In the past, they were experts. However, they couldn't keep up with the pace now. It wasn't that they couldn't do it, but the level that Night Sorrow was facing was getting higher and higher. Therefore, they were now Night Sorrow's bodyguards and followers. After exiting the tent, Night Sorrow went to the place where the captives were. When Night Sorrow arrived, Lin Qingyi appeared. Everyone is here. I've already told them to stay here for now. Those who are injured will heal, and those who are not will cultivate. It's not easy to be a soldier. Life and death battles are inevitable in a world war. Once the war is over, it's a different matter. I'm a soldier, so I respect every soldier. If you need anything, you can come find me, said Yishan. Looking at Night Sorrow, Lin Qingyi nodded. She now understood why the Nine Heavens Army, the #1 army in Samsara world, could still crush the martial army. It was because Night Sorrow had the heart of a soldier. Xuanji, you'll be in charge of this place. If there's a need, just satisfy it. Night Sorrow said to Jun Xuanji, who had rushed over. Jun Xuanji nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow was busy, so she had to take over these matters. Night Sorrow was now the commander-in-chief of the Allied forces. She was the military counselor of the Allied forces because she was Night Sorrow's most capable assistant. Night Sorrow went to each army and called all the commanders and generals to the commander-in-chief's tent. Although we tried our best to avoid it, there were still some losses. Those who were seriously injured need to be treated, and those who died, we need to compensate them. I will speak to the leaders of your respective forces about this, Yi Sorrow said as he looked at the commanders and generals of the various armies. Everyone bowed to Night Sorrow. Those who could lead soldiers to war naturally loved their brothers. Night Sorrow's words struck a chord in their hearts. This is the aftermath. Besides, the world war hasn't ended, so we can't just attack the Shimu Great World and leave when we can't win. We have to give an explanation. I'll fight. Everyone here is willing to do so, Night Sorrow said. Let's not talk about the others. The Nine Heavens Army will definitely fight, Nu Lin said. The Devil Blood Army will fight too. Later, Shishua and I will ask the Lord to fight. I believe the Lord won't have any objections, the Devil Blood commander said. Commander, Yufeng will send a message to Master immediately. I believe he will agree. Yuanchu armies, Yufeng said. Night Sorrow then told everyone to go back and prepare. Those who were willing to fight could gather in 7 days. After the commanders and generals left, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. He guessed that all the armies would fight. After all, no one would be willing to take a beating. After drinking a pot of tea, Night Sorrow went to the city lord's mansion. When he arrived, he found that all the commanders were there. Seeing Night Sorrow, all the commanders bowed to Night Sorrow. Is everyone here? Yishan opened his mouth and greeted them. Night Sorrow is here. Come and sit. Red Emperor nodded to Night Sorrow. I'm here this time because I have something to tell everyone. I'm the leader of the Realm Battle Army this time. Many of them died in battle, so I have to give them an explanation. I hope that everyone can compensate the soldiers of your respective forces. We have to respect those who died fighting for the realm battle. Yishang clasped his hands at the Heaven Masters present. Of course. They all died for their beliefs. We all understand. Sima Tianqing nodded. We can't do anything about those who died in battle. I hope that the forces of the armies can take care of the families of the soldiers who died in battle. Night Sorrow stated his request. Red Emperor, Sima Tiancheng and the others nodded in agreement to Night Sorrow's request. Night Sorrow's request was reasonable. In fact, even if Night Sorrow didn't say it, everyone would do the same. It was just that there might be a difference in strength. Also, they're all here to request for battle. What do you think? Qing Emperor said. This depends on the situation of each force. Those who can and are willing to fight should fight. Those who are unsuitable or unwilling should rest and recuperate. Master, disciple and the Nine Heavens army must fight, Night Sorrow said. Forever and ever. Master will support your decision. Qing Emperor smiled and nodded. He knew that Night Sorrow was insistent. Night Sorrow, you're too distant with your thoughts. What is a realm war? A realm war is a war for everyone in the world. Some people don't work together because of their differences. We'll definitely fight. Xiuhi, before the realm war ends, the Sima Residence's army must cooperate with Night Sorrow's deployment. Even if we have to fight to the last man, Sima Tiancheng said to the commander of the Sima Residence, Xiuhi. Night Sorrow, our Blackfiend Valley naturally has nothing to say. If you want to climb a mountain of blades, we won't hesitate at all, Li Tianba said. Red Emperor also stood up and expressed his attitude. Night Sorrow bowed to Li Tianba and Red Emperor. A few years ago, because I wasn't calm enough, I hurt the two of you. Night Sorrow will pay for it. Night Sorrow knew that he wasn't wrong. Sometimes he wasn't wrong, but he needed to be humble. If he could untie the knot in other people's hearts, he didn't mind paying a little price. After all, he killed someone else's son. Speak. Third watch. Chapter 1396. It's all in the past. I can't blame you. This is fate. I didn't teach you well. You don't have to take it to heart, said the Red Emperor. Forget it. Let's not talk about it anymore. We're friends now. It'll hurt our relationship if we talk about the past. The Red Emperor looked at his two sons and said, Night Sorrow, you're wronging yourself by saying this today. You have the potential to be the leader of a force. I'm very happy to hand the Red Emperor's army to you. Tianxin Chiwa, let's not talk about the past. Cooperate well in battle. Understand? Akatsuki and Chiwa nodded. They knew that it was all in the past. Their father had let it go completely. They also knew that Chitta deserved it the most. After settling things, Night Sorrow left the city lord's mansion and returned to the military tent. Night Sorrow had just sat down when Yufeng arrived. Yufeng told him about Lord Yuandao's attitude. Lord Yuandao's order was that the Yuanchu army would listen to Night Sorrow's orders until the end of the realm war. Nu Lin, the Yuanchu army is quite far from Yuandao. It might be inconvenient to resupply them. Take a portion of our Nine Heavens army's supplies. Medicine and resources must be provided, said Night Sorrow to Nu Lin, who was also in the tent. Commander Knight, you're too polite. We'll bring the resources. There won't be any shortage. The Yuanchu army will accept your kindness, said Yufeng with a bow. After settling matters, Night Sorrow went for a walk with Datura, who came to accompany him. Lord Yujun and Qingyan ran home. They want to tell their mother and aunt about their father's might, said Datura with a smile. Hashtag, the only genuine article. The others are all thieves. Version, they're still children. They'll still be children when they grow up. My original body has been cultivating. When it can't cultivate at a high speed, I'll come out. We have to have children too, said Night Sorrow with a smile. Okay, we want children too. Datura blushed. In fact, Datura had long thought about this. She wanted to give birth to a child for Night Sorrow. I can feel that your aura has changed. There's a sense of peace within the righteousness. I'm not the only one who feels this way. When you left the city lord's mansion earlier, everyone else said the same thing. Datura said to Night Sorrow. I've gained a lot from this realm war. In the reincarnation great world, I've become a sage of merit. I've also fused the golden light of merit into my body. You know how I cultivate my body. After fusing with the golden meritorious light, I already have an indestructible meritorious golden meritorious body. Because I cultivate the leakless body, if people don't look carefully, they won't be able to detect it, Night Sorrow explained. What is a virtuous sage? It meant that he had obtained the approval of the heavenly Tao. His words and actions carried the aura of the heavenly Tao, and he carried a majestic aura. Very good. Becoming a virtuous saint through virtue. A virtuous saint from a major world is incredible, Mandela said as she looked at Yishang. Aluo, I feel that I'm not far from becoming a virtuous grand sage, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Good things should be shared with family. Then hurry up. A virtuous grand sage is even more powerful. He can crush king even without cultivation. Datura looked at Night Sorrow excitedly. Can you hurry up? You can't do it intentionally. Letting nature take its course is in accordance with the heavenly Tao, Night Sorrow said. Datura nodded. She also understood that doing good on purpose was just a small act of kindness. It wasn't considered much merit. Datura told Night Sorrow to be careful in the future. He had destroyed Prince Zhanhu's original body, which meant that he had destroyed Prince Zhanhu's future. It was equivalent to destroying one of the great leaders of the Zhanwu dynasty. I know. Aluo, you should be careful too. Datura Chinensis is a hidden danger. This hidden danger must be dealt with. Night Sorrow was worried that Datura Chinensis would appear again. After all, she was an opponent who hid in the dark and could strike a fatal blow at any time. I know. The most difficult thing about her is that she can hide her aura. Great leaders can't sense her aura. The last time she came, we couldn't sense it. Now it's difficult for her to do anything to the two of us, so we have to be careful of our family's safety, Datura said. Before you married me, you didn't have any weaknesses. Now your weakness is me and our family. Now that I've entered the monarch realm, it's difficult for her to do anything to me. I think the only place she can do anything to is our family, Night Sorrow said. My clone is in the mysterious sky world, cultivating in and not far from the teleportation formation. She can't threaten Seven Night City. I'll know when she reaches the mysterious sky world, Datura said. She had already thought about Night Sorrow's worries. Aluo, switch between the original body and the clone. The original body will go there, and the clone will stay outside. The original body must be safe. We don't have children yet, Night Sorrow said. Didn't I tell you? My original body and clone are similar. As long as your original body comes out, both my original body and clone can do anything. The clone can't have a partner. The heavenly law doesn't work on me. In other words, if you marry me, it's the same as marrying two wives. Of course, their minds and souls are the same, Datura said. I understand. Does the same thing happen to Datura Chinensis? I don't know if it was the clone or the original body last time. Night Sorrow exhaled. Datura was strong, which meant that Datura Chinensis also had heaven-defying abilities. It's not the same. Datura Chinensis doesn't have a branch, so she doesn't have a clone. She only has the original body. However, she has some special skills that I don't have. She knows the art of seduction. Last time, you were alerted, so she didn't have the chance to use it. Also, she has strong life-saving skills. You have to pay attention to all of these. Most importantly, don't impersonate me to trick you, Datura said. You and I are husband and wife. Who would impersonate you? Even if they look exactly the same, there's still a lack of feelings. If I mistook you as my wife, wouldn't I be letting you down? Night Sorrow said with a smile. Not necessarily. I have too many similarities with Datura Chinensis. If she's more cautious, it'll be really difficult for you to tell. Datura reminded Night Sorrow. I understand. I know where her nest is. We'll go take a look later. If she's still there, we'll get rid of her once and for all, Night Sorrow said. I'll listen to you. For the time being, we have to win this realm war first. The Zhanwu dynasty and Battle God Palace have to be dealt with. We have to beat them into submission. Murderous intent appeared in Datura's eyes. She was gentle and considerate in front of Night Sorrow. But after suppressing a region for so many years, the domineering and murderous intent on her body were already ingrained in her bones. I still have to tell Master and the others that we can't just send an army. If the other Heaven Masters take action, our armies won't be able to return, Night Sorrow said. Datura told Night Sorrow that on this issue, the Qing Emperor and the other Heaven Masters had already reached a consensus. The primordial Heaven Master had also informed them, and agreed to send a clone to fight. After hearing Datura's words, Night Sorrow was relieved. The Zhongwu dynasty was very strong, but so what? He wanted to fight the realm war to the end. Speak. The fourth update has arrived. Today's update completed. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.